Welcome, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. Well, this is it, right? This is it. We're going to find out today who, hopefully tonight, we'll find out who wins the mayor's race in New York City. I know there's other races out there, Winsome Sears and all that stuff, but I could only get my mind wrapped around the race in New York. Are you guys the same way? Do you all feel the same way? That's how I'm feeling. And I think that's for very good reason, because the mayor's race in New York City is about the future of Western civilization and our American civilization as well. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to put it. It's that serious. So there's been a lot of momentum in Cuomo's favor in the last week and a half. Some polls dropped yesterday. Here's one poll that gave Mamdani a 4.5-point lead, keeping in mind that he's had like a 20-point lead, 30-point lead, 15-point lead over Cuomo over the past weeks. And this latest poll has Cuomo within basically the margin of error, pretty much 4.5 points. And there's some other polls as well that have it close, even, and I'm going to go through some of those as the show goes on. So for the last week to 10 days, every day it's been more momentum in Cuomo's direction as this goes on. And that is as clear as day. And everything we've seen from Mamdani is complete desperation. So we're going to talk about this today and take your calls. And right before I went live, I was at Starbucks getting my coffee, and I was going through the news on X to see if I'd missed anything in the 5 minutes it took me to get to Starbucks from my house. And I saw something that just really pissed me off, something very disturbing, which I made a video that's up on Patreon. If you're a Patreon supporter, I did a quick Patreon-only exclusive Patreon member live stream telling you exactly what I'm referencing right now. And I'm so angry about it that I'm reluctant to mention it quite yet, because I want to cool off a little bit before I start sharing my thoughts on what I came across. But I did share it with you guys on Patreon, so if you become a Patreon supporter, you can see that. But it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I gotta cool off before I talk about it, because you don't want to talk about something on the air when you're in a rage. And this particular thing I saw has me in a rage. And when you're in a rage, you're not thinking so clearly, right? So I need to cool off about that particular issue, at least for a few minutes, before I bring it up. But let's get into New York City right now. And this is probably, and I'm racking my brains, this is probably the most important mayoral race in the history of the United States, at least in anyone's lifetime. When was the last time so much was riding on a mayor's race in any American city? And everyone knows what Mamdani represents and what will happen. I've been talking about it, but most people, including they don't want to talk about it because it's a Democrat town. And Cuomo's still a liberal Democrat, so, they're afraid of being called racist and stuff, so they're not talking about the elephant in the room, which I have been. But these latest polls that are coming in that has Mamdani only 4.5 points ahead are good news, I think, for us. I wanted to share, let me pull this up. This is a black woman in Harlem, and she's talking about what voting is like in the mayor's race in Harlem. And she mentions a lot of very important stuff. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free wherever you're tuned in from. It's pinned in the live chat. The number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Toll-free call no matter where you're watching. And, of course, this is the pre-show. The radio show will not be starting for I don't know, 35 minutes or so. So we've got some time until the radio show. So I have a couple of clips I want to play that have language I cannot use on the radio. This is the first. I'm hoping 24 hours from now I'm going to go live and we'll be celebrating that Mamdani lost. It's really up in the air. We have no way to know. With the data we have, there's no way to predict how this is going to come down. Is there really? So there's no predicting going on right now because it's too close. So anyway, here's a black woman. She's voted in Harlem, and she's talking about what's going on.
Hey, everybody, it's Peggy D.
Oh, and I just want to say, if you're watching on my live stream with the green wall behind me, to see and hear all the video, hear the audio, and the images I show and everything, you have to go to my main YouTube live feed. The link is in the description of the video with the green wall behind me to my main stream, and you can see and hear all the audio and video and things I'm showing.
Hey everybody, it's Peggy D. How you doing? Just wanted to come on real quick and just say the voting here in New York is very heavy. Mm-hmm. I went to vote yesterday, and I had to wait in line for a while. Then I had to go in and wait in line. So people are taking it seriously, and this was in Harlem. So when people come out to vote this heavy in Harlem, that means that there's something serious going on, and that they're taking things seriously. Yep. So I know that President Trump came out today. But before I say that, I just want to piggyback on what I was talking about yesterday with the Democratic Socialist agenda. Just understand they want all the prisoners released, all of them, sexual dealers, rapists, murderers. They want the gang registry done. They don't want that. They want no police in the communities or anything like that. They want the Genius program. They want people. The kids are already having problems. They don't want a Genius program. They want this is Mamdani. So he's a communist. As President Trump said today, he is a communist. He's following along with this card, talking about get this card. I mean, he's a used car salesman. The man is he's put up by Obama. He was at a gay club the other night. He was at a hip hop thing the other night. He's just playing the numbers. He don't like nobody. He don't like gay people. But maybe he is gay. He's Obama. Okay, that's very interesting. So I withdraw that one. But nevertheless, President Trump actually came out today and said we have to vote for Cuomo. You may not like him, but right now it's about strategy, and people have to stop being so emotional. We have to win, unless you want the socialists. Yep. Then you will get what you deserve. So we'll see if we can pull it off. If we don't pull it off, then we don't pull it off. And then, New York will just go down in flames, which is going to. Mm-hmm. Because if the police force leaves, guess who's going to be the police force? They're going to be the Muslims. So they're going to, this could be really, really, really bad. And it will be. It would be worse than people could ever imagine. And these little white liberals that's in Brooklyn, and these stupid black liberals that's in Brooklyn and Manhattan that think that they want to get free stuff, free buses. He can't pay for that shit. He has no authority. He has no budgetary authority to do anything like that. No free shit. Get off your asses, get a job, do something, because there's no free shit Mamdani's going to be giving nobody. He can't do it. He doesn't have the money. He can't do it. So wake up and smell the roses, or just stay in your fucking fantasy. Me, I'm living in reality. So I wanted to say, everybody, go out and please vote. Let's try to get out of this. I'm expanding my territory because I'm not going to be in New York, whoever wins. It's just time. The city has to go through a transition. The Rothschilds have screwed it up. You have too much evil here. It has to be cleared out. So I'll be back and forth. But you know what I mean? But take care. Go out. Do your thing. Peace and love and joy. And let's do this. Peace.
Yeah, I like her. She's right on the money with everything she says there. Oh, boy. All right, let's take some calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sean, I'm calling from Ohio.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Brian. I had a couple things I wanted to run by you. The Supreme Court coming up on Wednesday is the most critical decision that's coming up for this administration.
Which one's that?
Well, about the tariffs.
Oh, Trump will win that. It's part of his authority as president.
If not, could they end the filibuster and then pass a law through Congress?
I don't understand where, guys, I saw something today that really pissed me off, so I may be a little off in my mood, so I apologize in advance if I'm short with people. But I'm tired of this bullshit that these judges are going around thinking they're the supervisor for the president of the United States. They can all go fuck themselves, okay? And I'm sorry to use the language. I apologize, but I'm really pissed.
Agree.
And as an example, they order Trump to pay for the food stamps. Well, why they're at it? Why don't they just order the Democrats to go and vote for it? I mean, what the hell is going on here? I mean, this is just complete BS that's going on. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm tired of these freaking judges. They got another Clinton judge ruling on something. These judges are just out of control. They're showing us what Republicans used to talk about, activist judges and legislating from the bench. That's what's going on here.
That's exactly what they are.
Yeah. I'm sorry for the language, guys. I don't like to swear, and I don't do it too often. But I'm just really angry at something, and then it's something in the news. But it's something in the news I'm angry about. Nothing personal. Something I saw in the news.
If the Supreme Court shoots this down with tariffs, that could be so detrimental. Everything that he's done with these companies wanting to come back to America.
Well, if he can't get active in the tariffs, what is the president? The Queen of England? Yeah, figurehead. Give me a break.
Exactly.
Give me a break. Who are these judges? Who are they to be doing this?
They don't have the authority. They want to.
Correct.
But they're liberal hacks is what they are. They're political hacks. Exactly what they are.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time, Brian. I just wanted to run that by. Don't forget about Wednesday.
Absolutely. We'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, the thing that I'm angry about is something that I saw in the news. Okay? Nothing personal. Something I saw in the news. Pocahontas came out of her teepee last night.
City that works for working people. I think that's terrific, and I was proud to go and campaign with him.
Here you got this woman here, Pocahontas. She's a millionaire. Last time I saw, she's been irrelevant, not in the news, but last time I saw her financials, she was worth over $11 million, and that was 5 years ago or so. So here's a woman who's a millionaire a dozen times at least over, and I'm down with the common man and the free stuff, and you guys got to pay for it. This is why I was pointing out the other day, if you listen to AOC and Bernie Sanders and Joy Reid and this witch, what they tell you is billionaires are bad. They don't tell you millionaires are bad. It's the billionaires because they're all millionaires.
City that works for working people. I think that's terrific, and I was proud to go and campaign with him. Well, that's Chuck Schumer. I'm there, and I think the people of New York City are also with Zohran Mamdani.
Is that the future of the party?
I think Zohran Mamdani talks about making the city affordable for the people who want to live there. He's talking about putting government on the side of the people. Look, Donald Trump knows who he wants to help make government work for, and that is billionaires. That's
See, now millionaires are good guys. It's the billionaires that are bad because they're all millionaires.
To help make government work for, and that is billionaires. That's exactly what he's done with one big, beautiful bill. He promised on day one that he was...
Yeah, all those no taxes on tips, all those billionaires that work on tips, that's who he's for.
Going to lower costs for all Americans on day one. Those were his words. And now the cost of utilities is up, the cost of groceries is up, the cost of Halloween candy is up, and Republicans are deliberately pushing the cost of health care up.
Really, I'd like to ask Pocahontas here. She said Halloween candy's up. What was the price of Halloween candy this year, and what was it last year and the year before, or even ever? You really think she, as rich as she is, do you think she pays attention to the prices on the Halloween candy?
To the point that 15 million Americans are going to lose their health care coverage, and millions more are going to be paying hundreds of dollars more or thousands of dollars more. That's making government work for billionaires
Back to the billionaires.
Not work for everyone else.
See, millionaires are good guys. Billionaires are the devil.
Democrats are in this fight
because they're millionaires.
to lower costs for American families. And right now, that fight centers on health care.
Is Elizabeth Warren wearing like a scuba wetsuit or something here?
Because people are getting their notices that their premiums are doubling and tripling, and they literally cannot afford it.
Are you worried that some of your Democratic colleagues are going to fold in this moment?
Look, Democrats are in the fight to lower costs for working families. That is our job, and that is what we are doing. And the fact that Republicans would rather shut down government than help millions of families be able to afford access to health care.
And again, it's all about their precious illegals. It's all about their precious illegals, everything, right? Millions of Americans. She means South Americans, Central Americans, and Latin Americans, not United States of Americans. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Doc from Texas.
Yep, what's up?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
All right.
Hey, hello?
Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to say, MAGA Mike Johnson, I guess in the afternoons, he probably go in his office and he probably saying, because I be laughing at him when they ask him questions, I don't know nothing about that, I don't know nothing about that. Dude, do you know anything sometimes? That's like with the partner guy, Trump gave the guy. I don't know nothing about that. I don't think Trump even know he pardoned that poor guy. They probably just put the auto pen in front of him and he signed it. Or he probably didn't even sign it. And Mike Johnson, oh, I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that. Dude, what do you know?
Well, see, it doesn't matter what Trump says, does, knows, or doesn't know. You're always going to say it's wrong because you're a Trump derangement syndrome suffering loser.
You know what? Same thing as you with Biden. Trump could do
Biden,
the same
you
thing
got a
Biden
guy.
did.
You got a guy who's got cocaine in his White House, shits his pants, has a crackhead son. Okay,
Trump
they
shits
found.
his pants too.
No, he does
Trump
not.
shits
There
his
were
pants
there were
too.
reports
Yes, he
of there
do.
were
Yes, he
there
do.
were reports of
Yes,
people.
yes, he do.
Didn't I tell you I was pissed off about something? There were reports that people could smell the adult diaper around Joe Biden. And by the way, he took bribes. So give me a break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, go back to your Twitch stream. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm Brian. This is, well, can you believe the pre-show already? We're still about 25 minutes until the radio show. I hope I can calm down before the radio show starts. I really do. We'll be right back. On the line, we have Gina. She's a client of Jupiter Joe Thomas. Gina, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing great, thanks. So you went and met with Joe Thomas about annuities. Can you tell me about your experience?
I can't say enough good things about my experience with Joe Thomas. He's a straight shooter. He tells it like it is. He talks in plain language so that you know, because I didn't know anything about this stuff when I retired. So I walked into his office, and immediately I felt comfortable. And I said, look, I know nothing about this. I don't want to lose my shirt. So please guide me in the right direction so that I'll be set. And he sure did. And I'm very happy that I went there. And I even got my mother to join, too. Now I feel comfortable that I'm set, and I don't have to worry about running out of money.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than running out of money before you run out of life, right?
Exactly.
Give Jupiter Joe Thomas a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999 and online, jupiterjoe.com. All right, Gina, thanks so much.
Thank you, Brian.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Back to the phones we go. You're on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hey, I just want to check in with you. I just want to let you know your wife's cheating on you.
No, and then he hung up. Okay, that's good. Certainly not with you. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. I am as ticked off as you are, brother. I'm telling you, you know what I'm ticked off about? That the guns are coming out right now. They're lying like crazy to a bunch of ignoramuses who are voting for them and know nothing about how the American government works. I mean, literally don't know how it works. And that idiot from Texas that keeps calling up every morning, Mike Johnson. The Congress did their job. They passed the bill to keep the government open. Okay, they passed it. He doesn't have to have them hanging around because the vote has already been done. It's over on the Senate side, and these people are so ignorant that the Senate is blocking the whole thing. And they and then they're talking about this health care, this Obamacare, which was supposed to be the Affordable
This
Care
is what
Act.
they're talking
And
about. They're talking about their precious illegals that they were going to have take over the country. Okay, You know, and they're having they have redefined what an American is. An American is anyone from the Americas. So you can be from Chile, Venezuela, the Bahamas. You know, you're an American. A Canadian, you're an American. That's their new definition of an American.
Absolutely. And this food stamp deal is another scam. They found out that under Biden, 40% balloon in the amount of food stamps that have gone out all over the country. Fraud and abuse, illegals have it.
But you know, hold on, Richie, as I answer all these lines. But you know, here's the thing. The latest polls in New York, they have Cuomo within striking distance. The latest one, 4.5 points behind, when he was 20 points behind like a week and a half ago. So there's been momentum in his favor. So that I think New York is still in. We're going to find out tonight, but it looks like New York, with all the information we have now, is in play. That we could win this.
The whole party, they talk about ruining democracy, Brian. It's so frustrating, man. I mean, and they blame Trump for everything. Mm-hmm. Trump has nothing to do with this. Do you know any? Do the people out there know anything about the government, how it works?
No.
Trump is not trying to destroy the country, and they always throw up the billionaires. That like you said. In other words, the boogeyman is the billionaires. The millionaires, they're billionaires now. So that you like.
Millionaires are heroes now. So they're the heroes. They're the common working man.
They have.
Yeah.
They have to have a boogeyman, and they have a bunch of ignorant voters. Yeah. I mean, I heard people. I mean, they're totally ignorant voters. I'm more frustrated about that. This is what you get when you flood the country with illegal people. And then
this is why when the country was originally founded, I don't know offhand what the net worth was, but you had to have a certain net worth to vote, a property owners, right?
Yeah.
And the reason they did that, and they should have kept it that way. And hold on, Richie, answering all these lines. The reason they did that is because the founding fathers knew that if the have-nots could vote, they would vote to redistribute the wealth of the haves to themselves. And but that's not what Mamdani is about. Mamdani is about an Islamic takeover of New York City. And it's the elephant in the room, and everybody knows it. And all these Democrats and the media and everything else, they're afraid to say it.
They're afraid to say it because they don't want to be well, at this point, I don't think they care, but they want this. Let me tell you something. California voted for Ronald Reagan, a Republican. Mm-hmm. When they the model of having illegal people in this country works in California because all the money had been dumped into California with all the illegal people.
Yeah.
You'll never see another Republican.
And Ronald Reagan did an amnesty. It was a small amnesty compared to what the Democrats, but he did an amnesty.
but they realized that they were going to get all the money from the federal government to supplement these people. So now it's a model. California is never be a Republican again.
Well, one of the reasons that President Trump is shutting down the Department of Education is because the Department of Education has been giving the states money for all these illegals in the classrooms, right? They get money per pupil.
100%.
That's another reason they want them in school is they get money for them. Emergency rooms,
food
schools,
food stamps, education, food stamp, housing. How much can we go on? And California all these people vote for Democrats because they're getting the handouts.
I know.
So they see that.
And here I am getting out. And here I am getting out of bed at 1:30 in the morning, doing at least 2 shows a day, 7 days a week. So a bunch of fat asses can sit around and get their SNAP benefits.
Well,
are you freaking kidding me?
You know what else? You know how they change? Yeah, you know how they changed California, and then they changed Colorado. Colorado was a deep red state, not full of the same crap as in California. And all you got to do is legalize marijuana, and you're gonna and put that up there, and then that's the next thing. These people are destructive. They have no moral character. Most of them are atheists, or they don't believe, or they're hypocrites, and they're uneducated.
Yes.
Fools.
Yes. All right, Richie. I'm going to run, but Richie has the golden pass. He gets to call twice if he calls during the pre-show. Okay. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. How you doing? This is Maria from Florida.
Hey, Maria.
Hey, how you doing?
All right. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm pretty good. I'm pissed, but I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, let me explain to you why I'm so upset. First of all, that caller that you just had, because I just tune in, because I always get up in the morning, just do my little walk, try to, loosen up my body. But I'm good. I've been good for a while.
Great.
But I want to speak out about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, get a life, okay? I know doggone well you ain't talking about no doggone Obamacare, Obama subsidies. We know what scam that was. It was set up to bankrupt our nation.
Mm-hmm.
It was set up to destroy our health care.
Mm-hmm.
It was designed to only give it to they special voters, which is illegal immigrants.
That's correct. Yeah.
And another thing, that caller was on whatever it was, C-SPAN or whatever. I tweeted it. And I tweeted on Facebook. I tweeted on Instagram because it came to my page. I didn't see it like point blank. But when she said she was a Republican or whoever it was, no, you're not a Republican because we don't do that. We don't do that. Try to blame Mike Johnson for something he already did.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Trump getting blamed for everything in the world. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. Stop lying and grow up. People in this nation, grow up and do your research and look who closed down the government. It was the Democrats.
That's right. That's right.
I'm sick of it.
I've never heard you this upset before, Maria.
I'm so mad because I've been hearing it. I've been trying to stay away from it. Because I have my own issues, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I was busy with my granddaughter because my granddaughter, she's getting ready to graduate next year.
Oh.
So I've been busy with her. She's a senior this year, so they had the senior bowl, they had the senior walkthrough, and I was busy with her. That's my first, my first grand that's going to graduate, so I want to be there to be proud of her.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Sure.
And I'm hearing this, and I'm hearing this, and I'm hearing this. And I had enough. So yesterday, I went on social media and I went off. You guys stop with the lies.
Yeah.
Stop with the lies.
Yep.
Sunday, I walked out the church because my pastor said that same little lie. Trump want to take away the food stamp from the people. Really? No more. I'm tired of it.
Your preacher said that from the pulpit. I think that's against that. That's like politics. I don't think they're allowed to do that.
Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong because I listen to other pastors too when I get home. And when I got home, another pastor, he's in North Carolina. His name is, I forgot his name. I know his name, but I can't pick it because it's so early. But he called out black pastors. Stop doing this on the pulpit. It is not what God wants us to do. But I'm looking at him like, you blaming the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, for food stamps now? Oh, boy, you really don't lose your mind.
That's true. Yeah. All right, Maria. You're making a lot of good points today.
Yeah, I'm mad. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm mad. And you know I don't call you a show like this being upset, but I am pissed. I'm tired of it.
Me too.
You know?
All right, well, we'll talk again.
All right, then.
All right, take care. Wow. Maria's pissed. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, I saw that clip of Pow Wow Chow earlier. That woman basically is a textbook definition of a Karen, of course, but why did she wear whatever that was that she was wearing?
The scuba suit? Looked like a scuba suit.
Yep. It looked like it was very unflattering.
Well, let's be fair now. Would anything on Elizabeth Warren look flattering?
Nah, not really.
It's impossible.
No, but that's the thing. When you're this bitter old person that she is, and she is bitter. She's basically TDS and all this stuff, but she's bitter. She's bitter old Karen. But that's the thing. Whatever is with some people, whatever's inside shows up on the outside.
That's right.
And this is Pow Wow Chow.
Correct. All right, Mike. I appreciate the call. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll free. It's pinned in the live chat. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Are you looking for a gift that lasts a lifetime? One that's personal, powerful, and proudly American-made. At Back 40 Metalworks on Etsy, that's Works, W-O-R-X. They turn ideas into steel. Since 2010, Back 40 Metalworks has been crafting over 200 unique metal art designs, from wildlife and rustic decor to modern wall pieces and custom creations. With more than 30 years of experience working with metal, they know how to shape your vision into something extraordinary. Need a personalized welcome sign for your home? A company logo? A one-of-a-kind Christmas gift? Something for mom or dad on their day? Or any other day of the year? Every piece at Back 40 Metalworks is built to last, indoors or out, and every design tells a story, your story, in steel. Visit the shop online right now. Back40metalworks.etsy.com. That's W-O-R-X. And view the inventory. You will be impressed. Back40metalworks.etsy.com. They turn ideas into steel.
Yeah, Back 40, by the way, they're good conservative people sponsoring the program. There's a link to their Etsy shop in the description of the video. Please click that. Check it out. Do some shopping. All right, let's hear from the great Stephen Miller. You know, by the way, Stephen Miller, all you Trump derangement syndrome sufferers out there, you know, Stephen Miller and his wife, who's pretty awesome. She's a local girl here from South Florida. Did you see her on TV the other night? She's bad, man. She's just like him. Stephen Miller is one of the Trump senior staffers who is living at a military base right now because their life is in danger from you liberal never-Trumpers out there. Think about that. When have you heard about the deputy chief of staff for the White House having to live with their wife on a military base because they're being threatened so much by the other? I've never heard it before. You guys are monsters. You really are truly monsters. Let's hear from the great Stephen Miller.
As far as New York is concerned, as you've talked about, as we've said, unfortunately, the anti-Mamdani vote is being split between Cuomo and Sliwa. And President Trump tonight put out a statement being clear that if you vote for Sliwa, who's polling at about a third of where Cuomo is, you're just throwing your vote away. The anti-Mamdani vote, which is really the pro-New York City vote, the pro-America vote, needs to unite behind the leading candidate, and that's Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah. You know, if Cuomo loses and Mamdani wins, it's Curtis Sliwa's fault. All right? I don't know what's up with this guy. Hopefully we'll find out. If he doesn't cost Cuomo the race, you know, he can just go back to his has-been life. But he's a real piece of work, if you know what I mean. And I will hold Curtis Sliwa responsible, and I think a lot of people will. He might be one of those New Yorkers that moves out of New York. You know, walking around with his red beret so people know who the freak he is. You don't even recognize the guy without his beret, right? You know, come on. What a monster. It's a little late, but if he came out this morning and said, don't vote for me, vote for Cuomo, he could redeem himself a little bit. You know, the thing with, but not enough if Cuomo loses. We all know what a monster Andrew Cuomo is, okay? How many people are dead because of him? We all know this, and he's god-awful. He's a monster. But Mamdani and what he represents and what he will do is worse. So believe me, the president and Stephen Miller and all the rest of us are very well aware of everything to do with the evils of Cuomo. Okay? We're all aware of that, and this is textbook voting for the lesser of two evils. Now, here's a man who worked for the government his whole life, but has amassed a fortune working for the government of $80 million. Schumer.
It's been clear. When we fight for democracy, when we protect democracy, we got to fight fire with fire. We're not going to stand idly by, as Maya said. We're not going to let them revert to Jim Crow. And if you don't think they want to revert to Jim Crow, just look what they did.
Jim Crow. That's the Democrats, not us.
When we fight for democracy, when we protect democracy, we got to fight fire with fire. We're not going to stand idly by, as Maya said. We're not going to let them revert to Jim Crow. And if you don't think they want to revert to Jim Crow, just look what they did in the SAVE Act, which went back to took Jim Crow for the whole nation. By so making it hard, they said you need ID, and they made it so hard to show ID that probably half the people in America couldn't vote. We wouldn't let it pass. Democrats, they needed our vote. They went to court. Many of us, Durbin, myself, and others, were lead plaintiffs, and we beat them in court. But it shows why we need legislation. Because these guys are undoing everything in every way they can. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote. They don't want Democrats to vote. They don't believe in democracy. We do.
What an asshole. I'm sorry. I wear reading. These are, I have great vision except up close. The glasses that you see me wearing when I'm live streaming, these are reading glasses like he wears. And I wear them on the air so much because I've got the chat room going or I'm reading articles and everything else. I have perfect vision far away. It's just up close. I had LASIK vision correction like 25 years ago. But his are always on his nose, and it's like the skin has grown around them, and they're like part of his body now, right? Like they've grown to his nose, or the skin on his nose has grown over his glasses. Hold on, Mike at the radio station is texting me. Hold on, he's going to let me know when we're going to be live. Okay, we got a few minutes till we're live. But there's something I saw in the news this morning that pissed me off, and I've been very angry. I did a Patreon video about it, and this morning before I did the live stream here, I have a Patreon live stream that's exclusive to Patreon supporters on the Patreon platform, and I am going to bring it up on the show today. I just wanted to wait until I cooled off. But I'd like to tell you guys, if you'd like to support my content, become a Patreon supporter. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions of all of my podcast episodes, and you also get access to the exclusive Patreon-only live stream. You have to be a paid Patreon supporter to have access to all the benefits. There's a live stream on Patreon. It's just like on YouTube, except it's a troll-free zone and only available on the Patreon platform itself to paying Patreon supporters, okay? And I talk a little differently there, on some things that I might not bring up on the show. Sometimes I'm just thinking out loud. But it is a no troll zone because we don't allow liberal trolls to become Patreon supporters. And anytime they've tried to infiltrate them, I kick them out. So it's a no troll zone, and you're welcome to become a Patreon supporter. If you'd like to, there's a link in the description of the video. And you can also go to the website address directly, patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. Okay? And there's all kinds of perks and benefits if you do that. All right, hold on. I got to get organized here. We're going to be live in... Okay, hold on. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, we're going to be live in 2 minutes. I got to get my commercial copy together. Copy is old. What? I am missing some copy here. Oh, here it is. Okay. There it is. Less than a minute, and we will be live. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're tuned in from. Okay, today's obviously the big day in New York City, which I'm going to talk about here in the beginning. But coming up in a few minutes, I saw something this morning before I went on the air in the news that pissed me the freak off. And in the pre-show, you know, I start the show about 30 to 45 minutes before the radio show on YouTube. So if you follow me on YouTube, Brian Craig Show, you get the pre-show. I was going to talk about it on the pre-show, but it angered me so much that I said I got to cool off before I talk about it. Because if I were to talk about it while I was angry, at the level I was angry, I'm still pretty ticked. I don't know what would come out of my mouth. So I had to cool off a little bit on this particular issue. I am going to get to it in a few minutes, and then we'll get back to Mamdani. But after I do that, because there's something going on that it's in the news, and I'm going to share it with you. And I've got a theory on what's going on. I'm not married to this theory, but I want to run it by you guys and get your thoughts about it, all right? But first, let's talk about New York. Some new polls dropped, the election eve polls. In the latest poll, Mamdani is still in the lead, but only 4.5 points ahead of Cuomo. All right. And I was talking quite a bit yesterday how over the past week and a half that the momentum has shifted dramatically in favor of Governor Cuomo to win the mayor's race. And we're going to find out tonight, I hope. And I hope to wake up tomorrow morning and go on the air and tell you all that we've got great news that New York has a new mayor. His name's Andrew Cuomo. Now, with all that being said, I want to be very clear. All of us know what a monster Governor Cuomo is. The president knows. All of MAGA know. How many people are dead because of him? I don't know. A lot. And the president has endorsed him. That's how bad Mamdani is. That's how dangerous Mamdani is as mayor of New York City. All right? Because we're willing to back a Democrat who's responsible for, I don't know how many deaths, a lot. Because Mamdani as mayor will be the beginning of the end of Western civilization. There's a lot of talk. This is pretty scary, guys. There's a lot of talk that New York City police officers are going to leave New York en masse and take jobs elsewhere. Florida is doing a massive recruitment for New York City and Chicago police. They transfer to Florida police departments, and they get to bring with them their pensions. Okay, so they're not and seniority. They're not starting from zero. And that's amazing because New York City Police is the finest police department in America. So these are highly trained officers. They come to Florida. So when there's an exodus of police in New York City, where's Mamdani going to recruit new cops from? And there will be an exodus because they're legalizing so much crime. They won't be able to arrest people for assault, for prostitution, all this kind of stuff. Robbery up to $1,000. And I don't know if that's, can you rob like every hour of the day? And if there's separate incidents, they can't arrest you. So could you do a robbery an hour up to $24,000 a day and not get arrested? Or is it $1,000 within a 24-hour period? How do they do that? Where will Mamdani go to recruit new police officers? I know in Minnesota, they have Somalian police. They have their own police. So would Mamdani be recruiting from the Muslim world for police officers in New York City? You know, this mass exodus out of New York that we keep hearing about, if Mamdani wins, there's going to be a mass move to New York by others, Muslims. And it's insane to even think that this could happen. Now, our only hope, you know what our hope is? That the corrupt Democrat Party machine will go into action because the Democrat Party machine, which has been running New York City for 150 years, okay, they're very corrupt. They all have multi-generational corrupt deals going on that they pass down from their families. Are they going to allow Mamdani and his crew take over the corrupt Democrat Party machine? So this is a very crazy thing, I understand, but what we're counting on, think about this, I never thought this way. What we are counting on to save America and Western civilization is a monster of a former governor who's responsible for how many deaths? Is there a number on that? How many are dead because of Cuomo? And the corrupt Democrat Party machine, the Tammany Hall types, right? That's what we're depending on right now to save our country and our civilization. And the loss of American and Western civilization is not an exaggeration if Mamdani were to become mayor. And for those who say, well, you know, maybe they need to experience this socialism. They experienced it with Dinkins, and we came back with Giuliani. The problem is the people that will be moving to New York will not be Americans, right? So there's not going to be another Giuliani type after Mamdani. It'll be another Mamdani type after Mamdani. Don't you get it? This is very important, guys. This race in New York City today is the single most important mayoral race probably in the history of the United States. Can you think of another election for mayor of a city that had anywhere close to the amount riding on it as this one? I can't think of one. I know there's other elections today. I can't get myself interested in Winsome Sears, okay, and these other ones. I'm not saying these other elections are not important, but this one is important for our civilization. So I was waiting for my coffee at Starbucks this morning, and I was going through X to see if there's any news developed that I might have missed or broke in the 5-minute drive to Starbucks from my house, and I came across something that just enraged me. In the next segment, I'm going to go through that and ask you a question, and then after the bottom of the hour, we'll get back to Mamdani. But something big is happening, and I have a theory that I don't want to be right about, and I'm going to throw it out there to you guys. When we get back from the break, our number is 888-465-2631. I want to talk about George Colony. You know, if you are looking to buy or sell real estate, residential or commercial, if you're looking to invest in real estate, whatever, if you're looking for any type of real estate transaction whatsoever, you want to call George Colony at Kai's Realty. You know, he has been involved. He has bought or sold over $5 billion in transactions in real estate. Isn't that something? Over $5 billion, buying and selling. He's a founder of an 8-figure business, and he has over 6 decades of experience in real estate and in business. He specializes in every aspect of residential and commercial real estate, from industrial and office spaces, retail, tenant representation, single-family homes, whatever you're looking for. And, you know, as I've been telling you guys, any type of real estate action, especially your home, is the biggest financial decision you and your family will ever make. You don't want to put your family's legacy and financial future that's multi-generational when you're talking about your home in many instances to a real estate agent that works at Chili's as a bartender on the weekends at night, or was working at the mall 6 months ago and took some online real estate course, and now they're out there helping making the biggest financial choice of your life. You want someone that understands and knows real estate, that's a businessman who understands money, and that's George Colony. This number rings directly to his cell phone. He was referred to us by Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. That's how I met him. You can call or text George Colony directly on his cell phone, 954-801-7320. 954-801-7320. That's 954-801-7320. We'll be right back. Be right back, guys. Just queuing some things up for the next segment. If you're on hold, stand by. right. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you're watching on the live stream with the green wall behind me, you got to go to my main stream to see and hear all the audio and video that I share. And the link to my main stream is in the description. We got about 90 seconds. We'll be back. I'll go to the phones. "30 seconds. We'll be back." Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Paula.
Okay, Paula. You got to listen on your phone. Turn down the volume of whatever device you're listening on in the background. There's a delay. You got to listen on your phone.
Listen to you. Anyway, I just want to say I have a feeling that what is his name? Hansi, the one that ran for the Europe, that might be bringing a communist in. He might be funded by Soros, Joy, whatever. So anyway, New York better get up and move. Go vote for the angel, the guys. I forgot his name. But anyway,
No, don't vote for Curtis Lee. Well, Curtis Lee was a vote for Mamdani. That's stupid.
No.
That's stupid. What the hell's wrong with you? Why would you vote for a guy who can't win in New York City?
I'm not voting.
A vote for Curtis Sliwa is a vote for Mamdani. Don't be stupid.
Oh, really?
Yes, he can't win.
What? Oh, I know, but that's not
I know,
fair.
but it's not fair. Oh my goodness, are you serious? Why would you throw your vote away for someone who can't win?
I know, but who would we vote for?
Cuomo. You got to vote for Cuomo.
Yeah, that's what I want to vote for.
You said the guardian angel. That's Curtis Sliwa.
Oh, so who do we vote for? Tell me.
Cuomo.
Oh, Cuomo? Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I know, it sucks. What are you going to do? You want CARE running New York City? You want CARE running New York City? Because that's what you'll get with Mamdani. He's backed by CARE.
I don't like him. Well, I don't want New York to run by communism. So I think the guys from South Africa, born whatever native, he crying crocodile, he funded by communists. So
all right, I appreciate the call. I mean, you got to have two brain cells for me to have a conversation with you. Okay, so let me get into. I'll get back to Mamdani in a minute. I saw something on X today from the New York Times, and they have a story. Listen to this. They've got this picture of Nick Fuentes, making him look like he's some kind of model. And it says, Nick Fuentes was Charlie Kirk. This is the New York Times, right? They have this glamour shot, model photograph of Nick Fuentes, okay? and they have this headline over it. Nick Fuentes was Charlie Kirk's bitter enemy. Now he's becoming his successor. New York Times, they have named this idiot, punk, racist, anti-Semite lunatic who sounds like a young Mark Levin. That's right, Josh, that's Tucker. You know, doesn't he sound like Mark Levin? The New York Times has named him the new Charlie Kirk. And that's what pissed me off this morning when I saw it. And then I started realizing something. Tucker Carlson is CIA. He is CIA. And I did not know this until the Putin interview. And Putin had pointed out, when Tucker interviewed him, he had said, oh, you applied for the CIA, but you didn't get in. And then I found out a couple months back that Tucker Carlson's dad was a lifelong CIA guy. And Tucker now admits this, but says that he only found out his dad was in the CIA after his dad died, which is complete BS. There's conflicting statements on this. I'm going to play you some audio of Tucker in a few minutes talking about all this. And Tucker has even made the claim, didn't do it with his suck-up interview last week, but with Nick Fuentes. But in the past, Tucker Carlson, he was talking to Candace Owens a while back. He said that he thought Nick Fuentes was a Fed. And yesterday, Dinesh D'Souza released a statement that if Nick Fuentes becomes the face of the MAGA movement, which Tucker Carlson's helping make happen and working with the New York Times, that the MAGA movement's going to lose minority support. And I'm going to play some audio clips of Tucker in a moment, but is Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes working together as feds to bring down the MAGA movement? I'm serious about that. Are they working to bring down the MAGA movement? And I'm here to tell you, I think the answer to that is yes. Listen to this. This is Tucker.
But I had the only
a while back, he was interviewing Candace Owens on his show. Here's Tucker.
But the only reason I know who he is because
he's talking about Nick Fuentes here to Candace Owens.
But the only reason I know who he is because someone sent me a video a few years ago of him attacking me, and I was like, so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, well, first of all, this kid's really talented, like legit, and I can assess that just having done the job for so long. So I was like, wow, lots of talent, native talent, and he's attacking my dad as a CIA, his dad's in the CIA or whatever, and I'm like, well, that's no, untrue. Then my father dies, and I learn, actually, was involved in that world.
Now, by the way, this is a lie. Tucker always knew his dad. You think it's just a coincidence that when he was in college, he tried to become a CIA agent just out of the blue, and it was just a coincidence that his dad was in the CIA? He has known his entire coherent life that his dad was in the CIA.
I was completely shocked by it. So no one has to believe me, but that's just a fact.
Right.
This was in March of this year. And I'm like, well, how the hell would this child from Chicago, my dad was 84 when he passed. Like, who does this guy know who my dad is? And like, he's in intelligence. Well, how would he know that? And I
Wait, so that was his critique of you? Because I didn't see it. It was like,
someone just sent me this video and it was like, you can't believe anything Carlson says because his father was in the CIA and he's a CIA working on behalf of the CIA. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, and I actually feel emotional in my anger towards CIA. And I
see, it's towards CIA, not the CIA, which is a tell that you are CIA, because the CIA people don't say the CIA, they say CIA, they drop the.
Think of that. That comes out on the air quite regularly.
Right.
And so the idea that I'm working for the CIA is like deranged.
Well, if it helps, he said I'm funded by Russia now. Since the interview.
And it's all about you, Candace. Okay. So here we have that. And then here's another interview with Tucker.
You remember that? You got to think about fuzzy bunnies. Past that.
So funny. I'll never forget this going home.
They would literally tell us that. Guys, you were trying to get into CIA.
Yeah, as Vladimir Putin reminded me. I don't know how you knew that. Yeah, I applied to CIA when I was a senior in college.
See, I applied to CIA. See, another tell that he is in the CIA because he calls it CIA, not the CIA.
Fuzzy bunnies. Past that.
So funny. I'll never forget this going home.
They would literally tell us that. Guys, you were trying to get into CIA.
Yeah, as Vladimir Putin reminded me. I don't know how you knew that. Yeah, I applied to CIA when I was a senior in college.
What did you want to do for the CIA?
Operations.
There you go. Okay. And here's a back-to-back.
And he's attacking my dad as a CIA. His dad's in the CIA or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's no, untrue. Then my father dies, and I learn, actually, yeah, was involved in that world. I was completely shocked by it.
And so when I applied to CIA, and I've taken a lot of crap, including from Putin, like, oh, you're from a CIA family. Well, yeah, obviously my father worked in conjunction with CIA. I mean, that's what that is.
Comes from a CIA family. Now, New York Times, which is CIA too, has named Nick Fuentes as the successor to Charlie Kirk. What I'm asking you is that, and by the way, Dick Cheney has died. I will be talking about that after the break. 84, Dick Cheney is dead. That's why it's so hot right now, right? And it's the flames of hell are burning over that war criminal. We'll get to that after the break. My question to you is this. Is Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes part of a federal CIA deep state psyop to bring down MAGA and identify us as a white supremacist, anti-Semitic organization with this sexy photo they have of Nick Fuentes in the New York Times? If you got to see this picture, it's insane. And I'm here to tell you, I believe it. Looking at everything that's going on. I want to hear your thoughts on this. At 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I hope Turning Point cuts off Tucker Carlson permanently, a lifetime ban. And not like that lifetime ban that the great Andrew Dice Clay got from MTV when he came back a year later, okay? I'm talking about a lifelong ban. I believe that Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes are both deep state, and they are running a psyop operation, or they're part of a psyop operation to bring down MAGA after Trump's no longer president. I'm telling you, all of it's there. As soon as I saw this thing from Dinesh D'Souza yesterday, it all clicked. We'll take our break and be right back. This is what pissed me off, was this thing from the New York Times about Nick Fuentes. The photograph and then the headline. I have not been so pissed off about something like this in the news in a long time. But that pissed me the freak off. Big time. Big freaking time. If you're on hold, stand by. What do you? I want to hear your thoughts on this Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes op to destroy and discredit the MAGA movement. They're crafting, and if Turning Point and these others keep inviting Tucker, they're helping them do it. Because they're nominating this guy as our new leader, Nick Fuentes. And freaking Ben Shapiro, what's he doing? Talking about this guy nonstop. Idiot. He's a stupid idiot, Ben Shapiro. Just a dumbass who's clout chasing with views and clicks. You know? Give me a break. Ben Shapiro is responsible for him being famous. He made him famous. I'll talk about that too. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Dick Cheney has died at the age of 84, and just a monster. You know, every time I see a Wounded Warrior or Tunnel to Towers commercial on television, and my wife and I donate to both every month, and we have for years, I think about George Bush and Dick Cheney. Okay? I'm disgusted by them both. I'm ashamed of both of them, and they're both monsters. You know, these guys that are missing body parts, and everything else that you see on the Wounded Warriors and Tunnel to Towers commercial, brought to you by Dick Cheney and George W. Bush. They knowingly lied about weapons of mass destruction. It was a deep state op. So that they could get rich and keep the wars going. Cold War was over. The military-industrial complex needed to be fed. And George W. Bush and Dick Cheney did it. I remember when Bush, when he was running for president, and he went out there and he brought in Dick Cheney, who was his dad's defense secretary during the Gulf War, to lead a committee to search for a running mate for George Bush. And, oh boy, shocker, Dick Cheney, the committee he led determined that he was the best candidate to be vice president. Next thing you know, we get attacked 9 months later or so, and we're at war. Then that war wasn't enough. Afghanistan, They lied about weapons of mass destruction and got us involved in a war in Iraq that they lied to us about. There were no weapons of mass destruction. They didn't find squat, and they knowingly lied. How many people are dead because of Dick Cheney and George W. Bush and their war crimes? How many Americans are forever changed because their bodies have been disfigured in wars that they did just for money. And Liz Cheney and that family, they're going to parade around like they're morally superior to Trump again. They are monsters. And I wouldn't be surprised if they had prior knowledge to 9/11 as well, at least Dick Cheney. Because we saw what they did in Iraq. They knowingly lied. They worked with their partners in British intelligence to craft phony intelligence briefings, just like the Russian dossier came from British intelligence. They knowingly lied about weapons of mass destruction. We know that for a fact. That's not even up for debate, right? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Not supposed to talk that way about dead people. I know, but this is, You're on the air.
Hello.
Yeah, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, get off the phone. I mean, I'm very impatient today. You know, this thing I was talking about before the break just enraged me, what they're doing with Nick Fuentes. You know, they are using deep state ops PR machinery to elevate, Nick Fuentes. I don't follow him or know too much about. I did see the Tucker Carlson interview. He's got the same voice as Mark Levin, and he's a dork. And this picture they have of him, my goodness, in the New York Times, they're turning him into a sex symbol as well as the leader of the MAGA movement. And Ben Shapiro spent all day talking about him yesterday like an idiot. I shared with you guys the other day on the program, Ben Shapiro made Nick Fuentes famous. He quoted one of his tweets before he was famous. Next thing you know, everyone's talking about him. And now he's still out there giving him credibility. Most MAGA people don't like Ben Shapiro. He's a never-Trumper, okay? He's unlikable. He talks as fast as an auctioneer. Okay, I agree with Ben Shapiro when it comes to Israel, but that's where it ends. Begins and ends right there. Okay? We don't need him being, every time he speaks out against Nick Fuentes, he's propping him up. And you know what? I don't know. He may know that. For all I know, I don't know. He knows what I know about Fuentes and Tucker. So why is he elevating them? I learned long ago not to go on the air when you're angry. I have not. So when I go on the air, I go out of my way not to be angry. I am so angry. And then thinking about Dick Cheney. I watch these Wounded Warrior commercials. Have you seen the one where the one guy, he was like 18, his mind's gone, his elderly parents are taking care of him, never met a wife or anything like that, or has children, and he's totally checked out? Dick Cheney did that with George Bush. You see these guys, they're missing half their bodies, the parts they have left are melted like Two-Face. Thank Dick Cheney and George Bush for that. They have a young, pretty wife and kids, and, and their lives are over. And then you see Liz Cheney on television with expensive clothes and expensive jewelry, passing moral judgment on President Trump. Pisses me off. And, the media, they used to call, remember what they called Dick Cheney when he was vice president? Do you remember what the media called him? Darth Vader. Darth Vader. Now they're going to put him up on some pedestal of, the dean of this or that, whatever. They're going to put him up on a pedestal of greatness. And I understand the man died. I understand that. Okay, I get it. But he was an evil man and a war criminal. And he used the good name and credibility of our great country to commit war crimes. And he's going to be elevated as some morally superior person. They'll probably be playing clips of him all over the place trashing Trump. They'll have a massive funeral. They won't want the president there. They'll have all the rest there, and they're going to go up there and praise a man that they were calling Darth Vader and a war criminal for years. But because his psychotic daughter, who looks and sounds just like him in a dress, she's like a young trans version of her dad. She even has the same voice and mannerisms when she speaks. She's going to be front and center again. She should be front and center in front of a judge facing treason charges. Her dad's a war criminal, and she committed treason, and she knowingly did it against President Trump. I'm sorry. I mean, I am in a rage this morning, and guys don't know. I learned in my early days, don't go on the air when you're angry. Okay? And no matter what's going on in my life, when I go on the air, I'm able to detach myself from it. But these two things today just have me in a freaking rage. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott. I'm calling from Kansas City.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, my trouble with all the Bush family, it began with Gulf War I. I thought, what the heck are we doing going there? And I think what they were going there for to liberate Kuwait was to try out their new slick GPS and other war technology, which worked very well, and to show the Soviets, look what we can do to your weapons. Look what we
I don't know.
Get you.
Something happened. I don't know. And I don't know why we went there, but I know why we went back. We went back to start a new multi-year war to replace the Cold War that was over. That's why we went back when he was vice president.
And my trouble with Bush and the Clintons is that they, so why didn't you put a daisy cutter on Bin Laden's face, especially when he was there? Before all this happened, I found out on September 10th that on September 9th, Ahmed Shah Massoud was killed, assassinated. He was.
Well, I don't want to relive. I don't want to relive everything, but I'm just here to tell you, Dick Cheney is a monster who is burning in hell right now for his crimes, and
his robo.
And yeah, I mean what he did just in the WMDs, okay, is enough. Just is enough to burn in hell for eternity. I mean, millions of lives have been destroyed, and they're going to put him. He's going to have more funerals than John McCain had.
And there was no way the Iraqi fascist system, you could find out intel on them easy. Mm-hmm. And they should have realized, no, there is no weapons of mass destruction.
They knew. They knowingly lied. They knowingly lied, and they put Colin Powell up to it. They knowingly lied about weapons of mass destruction. They knowingly lied.
And what bugs me is you're saying it, I'm saying it, but why hasn't the press said it? Why hasn't
because they hate Trump. They hate Trump, and his psychotic daughter trashes Trump. So that's why. So the media are going to put Cheney up as a saint, the man they used to call Darth Vader.
That better not happen. My God! And this was all planned all along, and they wait. And I just don't know why they didn't take out Bin Laden and his crew.
Because that would end the war. That would end the war, and they wanted it to go on. When Obama finally took out Bin Laden, you think we didn't know where he was? Down the street from that military base in Pakistan. They left him there alive on purpose. They didn't want the war to end. The new Cold War.
How can an entire people of the United States and the intelligence and the press and everybody else be had?
They weren't had. They knew and know.
They weren't had.
They just hate. All right, appreciate the call. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. Oh man, never drive around on bald tires again. First of all, he has thousands of good used tires in stock at very reasonable prices. But you can get brand new tires for as low as $75 a tire out the door and on the road. And by the way, that's on common sizes on some of the most popular vehicles on the road. So if you need tires immediately and you don't have a lot of money and you want to get the used tires, okay. But if you don't have the money, although for $75 a tire, that's a pretty good deal, save up and buy two at a time and get the new tires, okay? Friendly Tire in Margate, as low as $75 a tire out the door and on the road. Remember, Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or even dispose of your old tire. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number's toll free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Am I the only one who's pissed? Am I? If you're on hold, stand by. I gotta cool off.
Are you looking for a gift that lasts a lifetime? One that's personal, powerful, and proudly American-made. At Back 40 Metalworks on Etsy, that's Works, W-O-R-X. They turn ideas into steel. Since 2010, Back 40 Metalworks has been crafting over 200 unique metal art designs, from wildlife and rustic decor to modern wall pieces and custom creations. With more than 30 years of experience working with metal, they know how to shape your vision into something extraordinary. Need a personalized welcome sign for your home? A company logo? A one-of-a-kind Christmas gift? Something for mom or dad on their day? Or any other day of the year? Every piece at Back 40 Metalworks is built to last, indoors or out, and every design tells a story, your story, in steel. Visit the shop online right now, back40metalworks.etsy.com. That's W-O-R-X, and view the inventory. You will be impressed. Back40metalworks.etsy.com. They turn ideas into steel.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
My apologies, guys. I went to, during the break, I went to feed the cats. I didn't make it back in time. All right, we're still in break on the radio. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll take the calls when we get back. I mean, I'm just in a freaking rage this morning. And I just don't like it. Oh, man. 1 minute, we'll be back. About 30 seconds, we'll be back. All right, we're back. We've covered Mamdani. Dick Cheney has died. This Tucker nonsense, a lot. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is James in Delray. How you doing today, buddy?
Not well. I am so angry right now, and I don't get you don't hear me angry on the air. You might think you do, but you don't. I am fuming. I am fuming.
Listen, Dick Cheney, a horrible man. Colin Powell was being groomed to be the first black president of the United States. And Colin Powell, they made him sit right behind Cheney when he's.
I couldn't understand. You got to slow down and speak up. I didn't understand anything you said.
Okay, they made Colin Powell sit behind Dick Cheney when he was testifying in front of Congress. Okay, because he was wanting him to take some of the blame. Okay, and Dick Cheney's the only man who can get away with shooting a guy in the face lawyer, shooting him in the face and getting away with it.
Oh, yeah, slow down. Yeah, Dick Cheney was on a hunting trip and shot his best friend, who was his attorney, in the face with his shotgun, and while he was vice president, and didn't even get arrested.
Nope. And do you know, I mean, he was the CEO of Halliburton Oil Company. I mean, where did the oil go?
What do you think happened? Do you think that shooting was really an accident?
No.
What do you think happened?
Somebody in the face. I think he was getting rid of the guy that knew where everything was.
Oh, he survived.
His personal attorney. Well, he told me.
But I guess it sent a message. Don't mess around with Darth Vader. You may get shot in the face.
He's a horrible man. A horrible man. He lied to the American public about the weapons of mass destruction and continues his lie. And do you think he divested himself of all of his holdings of Halliburton? No.
Do you think Dick Cheney's burning in hell right now?
He is.
You know, how many millions of lives, not just Americans, but throughout the Middle East and in other countries and coalition forces, how many people are dead because of the WMD lie? And how many people's lives have been destroyed because they're missing body parts and such?
Horrible. Hey, listen, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Yeah, I mean, this is just... And those of you out there that are Democrats and never Trumpers, you know, you say all the time that, you know, you MAGA people out there, you call us MAGA crazies, that you MAGA people, you know, oh, you know, you support Trump, you just blind supporting Republicans. Here we are. We have our president asking you to vote for a monster, Cuomo over Mamdani in New York, and MAGA is supporting that. We're all telling you, vote for Cuomo in New York, not Curtis Sliwa, right? Knowing he's a criminal too. And I would think I'm not going to be the only MAGA person on the air today talking about Dick Cheney. I just pulled up the story and seen. Let me see. I haven't read this yet. If you're on hold, stand by. Let's see how CNN describes Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney, America's most powerful modern vice president. I don't know about that. I think JD's pretty powerful. Yeah, he's got all kinds of public support behind him, too. Dick Cheney, America's most powerful modern vice president and chief architect of the war on terror, who helped lead the country into an ill-fated Iraq war on faulty assumptions, has died, according to a statement from his family. He was 84. So CNN, they're not calling him a war criminal. They said, chief architect of the war on terror, who helped lead the country into an ill-fated Iraq war on faulty assumptions. See, they don't want to talk about British intelligence manufacturing intelligence, because that's where it came from, because British intelligence is where the fake Russian dossier came from. The 46th vice president, who served alongside George W. Bush for 2 terms, was for decades a towering and polarizing Washington power player. In his final years, however, Cheney, still a hardline conservative, nevertheless became largely ostracized from the party over his intense criticism of President Donald Trump, who he branded a coward and the greatest ever threat to the republic. Well, he did say it. In an ironic coda to a storied political career, he cast his final vote in a presidential election in 2024 for a liberal Democrat and fellow member of the Vice President's Club, Kamala Harris, in a reflection of how the populist GOP had turned against his traditional conservatism. So, you know, this is what we had as Republicans before Trump. Phony. He didn't have to vote for Kamala Harris. He could not have voted if he's got such a moral objection to Trump, which is fake. So says we don't need Eichmann here voting for Donald Trump, right? He didn't, you know, and if he was a real conservative, he would never have voted for Kamala Harris. As a protest, he may not have voted, but not for Kamala Harris, or maybe voted for whatever loser libertarian they had on the ticket. Cheney was plagued by cardiovascular disease for most of his adult life, surviving a series of heart attacks. To lead a full, vigorous life and live many years in retirement after a heart transplant in 2012 that he hailed in 2014 as the gift of life itself. Yeah, Like he took lives. How many people's lives were taken away by Dick Cheney with his lie of WMDs? Anyone know? What is the count on all of that? I don't know. A former Wyoming representative, White House chief of staff. Yeah, he was chief of staff to Nixon and defense secretary to Bush 1, was enjoying a lucrative career in the corporate world when he was charged by George W. Bush with vetting potential vice presidential nominees. The quest ended with Cheney himself taking the oath as vice president, blah, 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 blah. Oh, man. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Is this Brian?
Yes.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Not well.
I just like to say I hate Dick Cheney's guts. Now he's dealing with the devil, and I don't like Donald Trump either. I know you like.
Why don't you like Donald Trump? Why don't you like Donald Trump? Come on. I understand Cheney's a war criminal.
They're both screwballs, my friend.
Give me an example. Give me an example of Trump being a screwball like Dick Cheney.
Look at the way he acts. Look at the way he acts. Look at the things he says.
As an example, what are you talking about? Give me the most recent example of Trump doing something you object to. What's that?
Like that.
What?
Making fun of handicapped people.
Say that. He didn't make fun of handicapped people.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. He made fun of someone that he didn't know was handicapped, who happened to be handicapped. It was a fake news reporter, but that was like 10 years ago. Do you have something more recent than a decade ago? Do you have something more recent than a decade ago?
Oh, Brian, have a good day. Let's go fishing sometime.
I won't. I wouldn't go. Why would I go fishing with you? Some never Trumper.
I think you're a good guy. I just think that you've been drinking too much Kool-Aid.
You're drinking too much. Oh, who's that voice in the background? I heard a voice in the background. Oh. His nurse's aide. Are you in pain? Go see Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain like I've done 7 times. You know, Dr. Appleton's robotic laser works. It works. It repairs the damage in your body that's causing the pain. He's rid me of pain 7 times, and out of all of those 7 times, none of the pains have returned, whether it was from my injuries, falling off my skateboard, whether it was my arthritis, my knee injury from a car accident. His laser treatment works. The consultation is free. Take advantage of that no-charge consultation and let Dr. Appleton tell you how he can rid you of pain with his robotic laser away pain treatment. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710 and online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. Come back with more right after this. I'm sorry, guys. I am plenty pissed. Plenty pissed. All right. What the heck is this? Unbelievable. What a jerk this guy. I'll show this when we get back. Bunch of jerks. If you're on hold, stand by. I'd like to hear your thoughts on everything I brought up today. I'm just, and I apologize if I'm being short with you. I was so pissed about that Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, New York Times story. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with some BS that Dick Cheney in his dying breath said, vote Mamdani. Would you be surprised? These people have no shame. All right, we'll be back in less than a minute. Welcome back. Hour number 2 has begun. I've covered a lot. Dick Cheney has died. We're also talking about the Mamdani race with Cuomo and some new stuff on Tucker. I'm going over X because Dick Cheney dies. See what they're saying. Listen to this what somebody wrote here. Breaking news: Dick Cheney dead at 84. And then this person writes this: for decades, Dick Cheney served our nation, including as White House Chief of Staff, Wyoming's congressman. They only had one congressman, at least at the time. I don't know how many they have now. Secretary of Defense and Vice President of the United States. Did he really serve our nation? Who was he serving? I think he was screwing our nation is what I think he was doing. Can I say that, Mike? I don't know. You got to dump me? I don't know. Then they go on. Listen to this. Dick Cheney was a great and good man who taught his children and grandchildren to love our country and to live lives of courage, honor, love, kindness, and fly fishing. We are grateful beyond measure for all Dick Cheney did for our country, and we are blessed beyond measure to have loved and have been loved by this noble giant of a man. Now, this tweet is by someone I've never heard of before. His name is Jake Sherman, so I clicked him on. Founder of Punchbowl News. He's got some connection here to MSNBC and NBC News in his bio. And he's an author of a New York Times bestseller, The Hill to Die On. I mean, who is this guy? Has anybody ever heard of him? I mean, MSNBC. See, this is what's going to happen. They're going to start praising Dick Cheney, the man who's a war criminal that they called Darth Vader for years, because he voted for Kamala and trashed Trump. And his psychotic, lunatic Ava Braun of a daughter is going to be out there using the death of her father to try to elevate herself. See, the Cheneys have no morals. They have no integrity. They have no soul. So Liz Cheney has been sidelined. So now this is going to be her opportunity to come back in. You know, she is such a psychopath. She thinks she could be president one day. Could you imagine voting for Liz Cheney? She's going to make her move. Make no mistake about it. All right. Our number is toll-free 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
And I certainly agree with the way you're feeling today, man. You know, you're cursing before that was I thought.
Well, you know, I'm not angry about the New York race. The New York race is a horse race right now. It's too close to call. Yeah. What I'm upset about is this praise that as soon as I heard Dick Cheney died, I knew the media was going to be putting him on some pedestal with angel wings, and you can see you got this MSNBC are already doing it. And this thing with Tucker Carlson is really it blew my. I just really lost it with this Tucker Carlson stuff I was covering earlier.
Oh yeah, man, I'm done with Tucker. Done with the whole bunch of them. It really is sad that we have some. I used to think Tucker was a good guy. No more. Candace Owens, so she's gone. The whole damn bunch of them. I am going through Twitter, because Dick Cheney's trending. All I'm seeing are reposts of that eulogy I just read. He served our nation with pride. I'm not seeing anything about lied, about weapons of mass destruction, war criminal, Darth Vader. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know how it is. Everybody, he passed away, so now we could be a little nice to him. But, I agree. One less terrorist in this world. Too bad. He died. Too bad. Couldn't happen to a better guy. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing is I was thinking that, our founding fathers made it so you had to be able to vote. You had to own property and be educated. And that was a big mistake letting everybody vote, because the main reason was that they didn't want anybody being bought off. And exactly what's going on today. This Mamdani guy, I'll give you this, give you that, free food, free housing, free everything. He's buying everybody off with this nonsense. It's not.
No. The story that I led with today. See, I knew what I was just about 10 minutes before. I knew what I was going to lead with today. Right, the polls. The latest poll has Zohran only 4.5 points ahead of Governor Cuomo, and there's another poll I saw yesterday that Cuomo's leading among women in New York. Right. Yeah, isn't that something? And that's what I led with. And about 10 minutes before showtime, I came across this thing that Tucker and Nick Fuentes are doing with the New York Times that I brought. I may get into that again. And then as soon as I heard Dick Cheney died, I knew immediately that they were going to use him to attack Trump and bring out his psycho daughter to do it. These things are just pissing me off. But the thing about Mamdani, it's not about socialism. It's about the Islamification of New York City to bring down Western civilization. That's what it's about. All that other stuff is just noise.
And you hear some of his voters, that the idiots that have not a brain in their head, but they'll go out and vote. This is sick. I'm hoping that New Yorkers will wake up and vote for Cuomo.
Let's hope. We're going to find out tonight. Take care, Doug. If you're on hold, stand by. And I want to apologize in advance if I'm short with you or nasty to you out of the blue. And even I'm in such a mood today, and I really probably shouldn't be on the air this angry. I'm so pissed off at all this. Some people say, oh, you want to be pissed. This is not a controlled anger, okay? You can be pissed and be in control. I'm very emotional now, all right? I'm like a woman on her period, I guess. I don't know, or menopause. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do sound very angry today, and I understand.
And
why,
before you go on, I'm not talking.
Well,
I want to talk to the audience for a moment. I'm not. You'll still hang in there. I'm here till 9, man. Did you hear the smile in Greg's voice? I'm in a bad mood, and it makes him happy. What a psycho! All right, what's on your mind?
You saw the smile? We're on the phone.
I heard
I
said there's smile. You could hear smile in your voice. Excuse me.
Why.
I said I could hear smile in your voice.
Your smile. Well, I'm glad you had some crazy.
That's a very common. That's a very common thing in broadcasting when you have smile in your voice.
Because all these people you supported are letting you down. For example, Tucker Carlson, who was going to bring down Fox News. You and your wife touted, it's the end of Fox News. Marjorie Taylor Greene. But now, let me ask you a question, Brian, seriously.
Hold on. Hold your question while I answer all the phones. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
How many listeners do you think, because you say you have great influence, you change them from Democrats to Republicans, etc. How many listeners did you influence to vote for Bush and Cheney?
Well, we didn't know they were war criminals, and that we didn't know they were lying war. Listen, a husband and wife get married, right? The wife doesn't know her husband's a scumbag till he catches him in bed with another woman. Some of these people they lie to you. People lie to you.
But guess what? You must have some guilt thinking about it. Wow, I touted.
No, I have no guilt.
Don't vote for
I have
Gore.
no guilt.
Oh, well, you should. You should.
I should have guilt. I don't. I have no. Let me tell you. I have no regrets in my life. Okay, I don't dwell on the past like you. I have no guilt.
Dick Cheney was no angel. He was the head of Halliburton, a defense company. You think he was an angel?
I didn't say he was an angel.
No, but even to vote for this man, you thought, the head of a huge defense.
I'll give you an example.
Contractor.
I'll give you an example, Greg. Okay, Bush 41. Everybody thought he was a good guy on the right. In fact, there was one moment, it was very interesting, in the 2000 campaign when his son was running. Bill Clinton got involved in the political campaign, which was at the time unheard of for sitting presidents. Bush 41 came out, H.W. Bush, and he said, he was asked by a reporter about Bill Clinton attacking his son. He said, if the president continues this, I'm going to tell the American people what I think about him as a man. And of course, he was talking about Lewinsky because that was a big story at the time. We come to find out a couple years ago, Barbara Bush wrote a book, a tell-all book about her scumbag husband, and she had set it up to be published after she died. And we find out that H.W. Bush 41 had a mistress, same woman, from the time he was ambassador to China until he died. He had her in the White House when he was president. When people betray you, you don't know that they're betraying you until you do, Greg.
But you know what? You have an influence upon people, and guess what? You misled them.
I misled them. All right, I don't want to mislead them with you misleading people about me. Go get off the phone, jerk. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. But you know what? It's break time. Let's talk about coastal weight loss secret. I was talking yesterday. I went to Universal Studios over the weekend with my daughter. And it was the first time I had been to a theme park. We got there at about 2:33 in the afternoon, and we were there till close to midnight. And it's the only time that the first time I should say, that I had been in a theme park for hours and hours like that since I lost all this weight. And at the end of the night, I was still ready to go. My feet didn't hurt. My legs didn't hurt. I wasn't tired. Because I lost all this weight, I had so much more energy. It was absolutely amazing. And now here we are. The countdown has begun to Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday parties, the Jewish holidays, of course, everything. You want to look great for the people that you only see once a year or every 5 or 10 years or even more. You want to lose that weight, and you have plenty of time to lose it before Thanksgiving. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. Look great for your holiday parties, your Christmas parties, your Christmas events, your Thanksgiving dinner. Look great. Lose that weight. I lost 25 pounds in 3 weeks. They can help you no matter where you are in the United States. Give them a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-247-9673. 6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. We'll be right back.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. We'll be back in 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. So furious right now. Really? Okay. 30 seconds. We're back. I'm Brian. Let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Bill from Sanford.
Oh, hey, Bill. Yes, I must confess, 21 1 year ago, I was wrong about Dick Cheney and George Bush. Oh my goodness! Give me a break.
I'm sad that he passed away because I wanted to see him live long enough to visit his daughter in prison.
Yeah.
Because I would rather have him be alive and see his daughter go to prison and before he died.
Yep. Yep.
And in the obit, they probably forgot. He mentioned fly fishing. What about bird hunting? They didn't put that in there.
Here's the thing, okay? Politicians, anyone who's president or vice president, half the country love them, half the country hate them in the best case scenario, right? That's kind of how it works, okay? Dick Cheney's special, okay? Dick Cheney and George W. Bush knowingly lied to us about weapons of mass destruction. And I don't know how many millions of lives have been destroyed by that lie, but they knowingly did it. Right? So, so that puts them, and they did a pretty convincing case. People say, well, how could you not have known? Remember, they sent Colin Powell to the United Nations, and it was carried live around the world with a total BS intelligence presentation that was presented live on television to the world, detailing the weapons of mass destruction program that Saddam Hussein had. They knew it was a lie. People, people were, after 9/11, people were not only running to enlist like it was Pearl Harbor just happened, but there were people that were over the age of enlistment that were going out of their way to get special, the guys over 40 years old getting special permissions through the military to be able to enlist at over 40 years old in different positions because people wanted to, they sold Dick Cheney and George W. Bush. The way people forget everything that was going on after 9/11 and the lengths they went to sell that lie, and we got over there and they found nothing. And if you remember when it finally started dawning on everybody, they said, well, they transported them to Syria. Well, where are they in Syria then? The WMDs. It was all a lie.
Well, yeah, and they didn't they have. Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, you're right. It was Syria. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but that was BS too because. Yeah. Everything that went on in Syria, if Assad had them, he would have used them.
Well, then they had the support of the defense secretary,
Donald Rumsfeld. I remember, when they sent Colin Powell, he went to the United Nations Security Council in New York City with this intelligence PowerPoint presentation to present to the United Nations and the world the proof that they had that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. It was a complete, every aspect of it was a lie.
And at the time, I'll be honest, at the time I believed it.
I did too. We all did. And and any liberal who tells you, well, they knew. No, they that was just broken clock, right? Twice a day kind of thing. They didn't know. They just were hating on Republicans. They made a good case selling that. And
absolutely.
And Colin Powell's probably sitting right next to Dick Cheney right now.
Yep.
Because he's the one who sold it.
And I remember his presentation, and it all made sense at the time.
Yeah, they had detailed intelligence reports, all manufactured.
Yeah.
And everybody believed it. People forget. I remember that Colin Powell, at the time, people were talking about running him for president. And he was he had a lot of popularity from the Gulf War, and he was even though he was Secretary of State for W, he was kind of almost like a nonpartisan guy where everybody loved Colin Powell. That's why they put him out there to do it. And he became another never Trumper too. They all were never Trumpers. They were never Republicans. It was all a lie. They're part of this uniparty, and people forget about that presentation they made. It was so detailed with fake manufactured intelligence, the most detailed thing you've ever seen. And now they're going to use the death of Dick Cheney to try to attack Trump with his psycho daughter, Ava Braun.
Yeah. Yeah, and she does deserve to be in prison, and she may well be.
She may end up in prison.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate the call. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Dr. Appleton. If you're in pain, go see Dr. Appleton. The consultation is free. Go meet Dr. Appleton. Appointments are not necessary. You can just walk in for that free consultation, even on Saturdays, and let Dr. Appleton tell you how he can rid you of pain with his robotic laser. The robotic laser, by the way, Dr. Appleton performs all the treatments himself. The robotic laser, which is 100% painless, you don't even feel it when it's happening. There's no shots, no injections, of course, no surgery, no downtime. It takes just a very few minutes, the treatment. It works. What the robotic laser does is repair the damage in your body that's causing you the pain. That's why the 7 times that Dr. Appleton has treated me with his robotic laser, that the pains have not returned, because the damage that was causing me the pain was repaired. And the robotic laser, what it does, it moves around the entire area. As an example, when I went in for my knee pain, okay, the robotic laser moves, it doesn't just treat one portion of the knee, it moves around the entire knee and treats the top, the sides, the bottom, behind the knee, and everything else. And same thing on the other parts of your body. It's absolutely amazing. Give Dr. Appleton a call. We've had listeners travel from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton because pain sucks. It really does. Believe me, I know. I had a lot of it, and I'm pain-free now, thanks to Dr. Appleton, and you can be too. 954-973-0710. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain too. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. Oh. Boy, oh boy. Don't understand. There we go. Mm-hmm. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. I've been covering a lot today, and I'm in a mood. I gotta tell you, and I should not let this happen to me because I don't. Hold on one second. Oh boy, I'm getting text messages off the air and everything. This whole thing just burns me. But we do have some good news today, and that's the race in New York is a horse race right now, right? There's two new polls that came out late in the day yesterday. One has Governor Cuomo leading Mamdani among female voters. I mean, he's actually leading. He's in the lead among female voters, which is amazing. Overall, there's a poll that has Cuomo only 4.5 points behind Mamdani, when Mamdani was like 20 points ahead just a couple of weeks ago. So what's going on in New York is a coin toss. We're going to find out. And, yesterday I was playing that clip of Mamdani where he said that he has anxiety. He didn't even say he would win. He says he doesn't look to the future, And Mamdani, who has never accomplished anything in his life, now he wants to be mayor of the most important city on the planet, which is crazy. He's of that participation trophy generation. And if he may pull this through, or he may not. Okay, we don't know. It's that close in New York. And when I have followed, these new polls that show Cuomo ahead with women and only 4.5 points behind in this latest poll of everyone. And if it wasn't for Curtis Sliwa, this would be locked up. But I'm starting to see a lot of reports of people that are saying, I'm not going to vote for Curtis Sliwa, I'm going to vote for Cuomo. What usually happens with high-profile elections, and this certainly is the most high-profile mayor's race maybe in the history of the United States, certainly the most important one. I just don't remember really covering a race in New York too much. We talk about them, but not this closely. But in high-profile races, the media, the polls that we see, always see, I tell you this, are fake push polls, and the fake push polls are out there pushing whatever agenda that the establishment want or the media want. And when it's a high-profile election, when it's election time, as we are right now, it's election day in New York City, you start to get more accurate polls, not 100% accurate, but you start to get more accurate polls because the pollsters and the people that promote these polls, they want to have some credibility. Well, we were within the margin of error. So the tightening of the polls, I think what we're seeing for the first time are accurate polls out of New York, is what's going on here. We're seeing the first accurate polls. And this 4.5 points, which is almost within the margin of error between Cuomo and Mamdani. It has Mamdani at 43.9, Cuomo at 39.4, and this narcissistic loser, Curtis Sliwa, at 15.5. So there were more stories yesterday that they've had historically high early voter turnout. So with early voting turnout, the question is, who is that favoring? And I would say it favors Cuomo. Now, there's no way to make a prediction. I don't mind being wrong, okay? I'll tell you who I back. If I think I know who's going to win, I'll tell you. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't care. It's I'm going to tell you what I think. This one's too close to call. And the polls, for example, this poll that has Mamdani 4.5 points ahead. We're talking about New York City. They're polling voters in New York City. So in that poll, even though it shows Mamdani 4.5 points ahead, I'm here to tell you there's a good chance in that very poll that Cuomo is actually in the lead. There's a good chance of that. You know why? Because Democrats, liberal Democrats, a lot of them will not tell you they're not voting for Mamdani because they don't want the pollster to think that they're a racist Islamophobe. Right? So in that poll, Cuomo could be ahead. And tomorrow will be the day, and we still don't have endorsements from Obama, Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, or Governor Hochul of New York, which means that they've seen the internal polls and they're not confident he's going to win, and they didn't want to come here and endorse him and then be wrong tomorrow. So whatever happens in the race, we don't know who's going to win. There's no way to know. It's too tight with the data we have. Now the elections come out, it might be a landslide victory for Mamdani. But what we're seeing in the polls right now is a tightening. And all the momentum has been going in Cuomo's favor since that picture with the Central Park 5 lunatic that Mamdani took with the unindicted co-conspirator terrorist from the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Ever since then, it started to turn against him. And then he made up that story about his aunt in the hijab after 9/11. And then he had to admit he lied like the next day or 2 days later. And the momentum has been going towards Cuomo ever since. And if you look at elections, this one is impossible to predict. But if you look at elections, whoever has the momentum wins. Okay? So when the polls close tonight, I hope we get the results quick and get this settled. But even if Zohran wins in New York tonight, he could win. And he could win big. There's no way to tell. This all involves early voting turnout and electioneering turnout today. And what early voting turnout being record high would indicate to me is that the Democrat Party machine has been getting their buses out and their canvassers out and their drivers out and taking people to vote. And if that's true, if the Democrat Party machine has gotten in gear to get Cuomo the victory over Mamdani so they don't lose control over the corrupt political machine, that means Cuomo wins. And I never thought ever that the future of this country would rest in the corrupt Democrat Party machine. But that's where we are right now. Right? And, for people out there on the left around the country that say Republicans, MAGA people, we're just so partisan, whatever Republicans say, we'll go. Look, from the president on down, almost all of us are saying vote for Cuomo, knowing everything that Cuomo is, everything Cuomo's done, and he'll do terrible things if he were to become mayor too. And it would probably elevate him where he might even be the nominee for president for the Democrats next time or two. It could happen after this. He could come in and be redeemed and become their nominee down the road using this as a springboard. That's probably why he's doing it. But we're seeing the greater good of the country beyond a mess in New York. And, even from, a media perspective, like if Mamdani becomes mayor, people that do shows like this, it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving. We would have endless things to talk about that are crazy. But I don't want that. I don't want that. You look at Dearborn. You look at Michigan. You look at all these things that are going on. You look at Minnesota. And you want that? You want Dearborn, Michigan to be New York City, where they're naming a street after a guy supporting Hezbollah terrorists? Are you kidding? I saw a woman last week at a local city council meeting in Michigan where she was talking about getting woken up by the call to prayer all the time. You want that to be New York? That's what it'll be. And this will be the beginning of the end for all of that. Now, I want to talk about life imaging FLA, which is just absolutely amazing. You know, in the United States and around the world, coronary artery disease is the #1 killer. 1/3 of the time, the first event to let you know you got it is sudden death. But you know what? Coronary artery disease is a completely preventable disease. Coronary artery scanning was invented 30 years ago, and over 4 million people have died without any warning. Most of them could have been saved if they would have had this scan that they have at Life Imaging FLA. Multiple studies show that looking inside the body with a CT scan can significantly decrease cancer deaths too. Call for your free heart scan with just a few minimum requirements. Life Imaging FLA is saving lives with this FDA-approved state-of-the-art low-dose CT scan. When you're over there, make sure you ask them about their cancer screening and their virtual colonography, okay? Call Life Imaging FLA for your free heart scan right now with just a few minimum requirements, valued at $699. From your cell phone, call pound 250 and say free heart scan. Again, from your cell phone, that's pound 250 and just say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah, you're watching me. Yeah. Anything going on? Okay, all right. Oh, great. All right, hold on. It's Ian, our travel agent. He's watching me call him on YouTube. So it's kind of like... If you're on hold, hang in there. Hello? Yeah. Yep. Okay, you there? Are you there? Okay, hold on a second, okay? Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes.
Okay, we got 90 seconds, okay? So hold on.
90 seconds.
Oh, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute, okay? Hold on. Okay. Are you there, Steve?
I'm here.
Okay. About 30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay.
We're going to do a quick spot, and then we'll get going, okay?
Sure.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to keep you on with the spot, though. Hold on. Hold on. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane with us. Hey, Steve. Oh, hold on. I got to put everybody on hold. I lost everyone. Oh, boy. I just cleared out the line. All right, Steve, you back with us?
You lost everyone, but you didn't lose me.
I did not lose you, but I hit the wrong... You know, I'm in a very, very difficult mood today. I got to tell you. It's just I'm not having a good day. And,
well, it's a tough show. Let me see if I can help you out here. I've been following, as has everybody, what's been going on with great interest. But I see it different than any of the other analysts.
What, you talking about the race in New York?
Yeah, the race in New York. That's the big thing worth talking.
Mm-hmm.
And what people don't understand is the big thing about this race is this is the coup de grace for the Democratic Party. If Mamdani wins, we're all dreading it, but it's really the best thing that could happen because it would be the official, final end of the Democratic Party forever.
Very, very possible. Very possible. But before we get into that, we got to do a quick little conference here. And on the line, because we got an urgent message we got to get out. Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot. Hey, Ian.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, guy. Okay, now, the reason we got Ian today, there's a couple things going on. You know, Steve, can you believe it's going to be our 10th cruise we're doing?
I can't wait.
I mean, we have spent months at sea together. If you think about it, we're almost in like the Steve Kane Navy. If you think about it.
We're out to sea.
We've been out to sea a lot.
We're out to sea more often than not.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
That's true. 10 cruises a week each. But there's a couple things that are important to point out. And so we got Ian. How you doing, Ian?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great, man.
Okay, there's two things that we got to announce. One is if you've already made your reservation, final payment on the cruise is coming up. That's one, right, Ian?
Yeah, final payments due. I'd like everyone to start giving me a shout, take care of that balance. Some have already. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but the other thing is this, and this is just as important. We have 2019 pricing, and those of you that call in, you know what I'm talking about, all right? If you go with us with our group pricing, you're going to be going for less than anybody else on the ship. We have 2019 pricing on our March 2026 cruise. However, the holiday specials, Black Friday specials and such, are going to be announced soon by the cruise lines. When that happens, we lose our very low 2019 group rate, right, Ian?
That's right, but can take advantage of Black Friday specials to upgrade to the premium internet, premium drinks. Got to have those premium drinks.
Exactly. So if you've not made your reservation for our 10th annual Steve Kane MAGA Cruise, now's the time to do it. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot, 561-244-5779. If you're flying from out of town, out of state, Ian can help you with your airfare, even hotel stay, transportation from the airport to the ship, and everything else. If you get Ian's voicemail, leave your name and number. He will call you back, 561-244-5779. All right, Ian, we'll talk soon.
Enjoy, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, take care. So, no, Steve, just to recap, it's not that the show's difficult. It's that I'm just angry at Tucker Carlson beyond imagination. I'm just in a rage at Tucker Carlson, and I just can't get over it this morning.
Because of the Nick Fuentes thing?
It's more than that. But do you want me to tell you about that or talk about the Mamdani race?
Sure, tell me about that.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about what it would be like when Mamdani loses.
Yeah, which looks like it's going to happen.
Most likely.
A couple things have happened with Tucker, okay, Carlson. Tucker Carlson's dad was a lifelong CIA guy. Tucker even admits this, okay? And we come to find out when he even admits this himself, that he tried to apply for the CIA himself but was rejected. And then he said that he didn't know his dad was in the CIA until after he died, which is total BS, okay? And I've come to realize something, okay? A few months back, Tucker Carlson interviewed Candace Owens on his show. And he was talking about Nick Fuentes at the time. And Nick Fuentes had made it public that Tucker's dad was a CIA guy. And he said, I don't know how he knew that. I didn't even know it. And I didn't find out until March when he died. Nick Fuentes has got to be a Fed. And then, I don't know if you've seen Nick Fuentes, but he's kind of a dorky, nerdy kind of guy. He wears suits off the rack that don't fit him. He's got the same voice as Mark Levin, and he's just a kind of a geeky guy. Mm. They did a profile on Nick Fuentes in the New York Times. They have turned him into a sex symbol. This image they've made of him looks nothing like him, but it's like this sexy guy. And the New York Times has crowned him the new Charlie Kirk. Dinesh D'Souza yesterday said that if MAGA continues to embrace Nick Fuentes, minorities are going to leave the MAGA movement, and we're going to lose all our future elections. And I realized, putting all this together, that Tucker Carlson, who does have a history of trashing the president, who is probably CIA, as is Nick Fuentes, is a Fed, that Tucker Carlson is involved in a psych op with Nick Fuentes to discredit the MAGA movement by promoting this white supremacist neo-Nazi. And I'm just so furious that he's still parading around at the Turning Point events and everything else. And this is all happening right now. And it just, this new thing that they got in the New York Times crowning Nick Fuentes the successor to Charlie Kirk, I'm just in a rage with this.
There's a whole bunch of stuff in the New York Post today about Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
And you know my position on this. I think that the press gives much too much attention to this Tucker Carlson. Since Tucker has left mainstream radio, I know he has a following on the internet. There's no question of that. But I don't really think it matters. I really don't think it matters. What matters is what's going to happen if Mamdani or whatever, however he pronounces. I've got a resistance to pronouncing his name properly.
Yeah, me too. I know what his name it really is. I call him Zohan on purpose. I know his name is Zohran. Zohan is
right.
That Adam Sandler movie, the hairdresser from the IDF.
But I think you guys have just given these people in the MAGA movement just too much power that they don't deserve.
No, Tucker Carlson, Steve. Tucker Carlson is involved in an effort to destroy Trump in the MAGA movement, and he's doing it with Nick Fuentes. I'm telling you. And
but why do you feed into it by giving it such?
I'm
coverage?
not feeding into it. I'm exposing it.
Well, when I say you, I don't mean you personally. I mean the people out there that are pissed at Tucker. Why give him the exposure?
Because because I think he needs to be called out for what he is and what he's doing. I mean, it's that's why we don't because we don't want these people in our movement. We've got the greatest political movement in history of this country, and they're out there working to destroy it.
What you're doing is sharing what you're doing is sharing. You're doing it in a way that shares the stage and promotes Tucker Carlson. It doesn't do Tucker in. You don't think Tucker loves the publicity and the limelight? The fact that you guys are breathing life
Steve,
into him.
I'm so in a rage about it. I can't contain myself.
You can't help yourself.
No,
okay.
I know, and I shouldn't, I know. I'm reluctant to even talk about it.
Sounds like kind of a version of Trump derangement syndrome.
No, no.
Tucker derangement.
No, he's still on the invite list at Turning Point events. He'll probably be at CPAC Tucker. He needs to be removed from all of these lists, and he's got to be purged from our movement. Tucker, that's all. But Mamdani, let's talk about the good news, and that's the race. Okay, there's 2 new polls out. Okay, out of New York that came out late yesterday. One of them I'm going to put you on hold, Steve, while I answer. Our lines are just, the lines are ringing off the hook. Okay. There's 2 polls. Did you see them?
No.
Okay.
No, I heard you talk about them.
Okay. One poll has Cuomo polling ahead with women. These are all New York polls. And the other one is, of everyone, has Mamdani only 4.5 points ahead of Cuomo, and he was 20 points ahead of him like 2 weeks ago. So the momentum has been in Cuomo's favor.
It's very difficult to call this race.
Oh, it can't be
though.
called.
I mean, when it comes, and you want to know what makes it difficult? Because the thing that is totally unique about this race, there has never been a political race in New York that I know of, or actually any race that I can think of, where the paper or the papers have taken such a strong direct editorial stand in their news coverage. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, they have really gone after, I mean, their heart's in the right place. There's no question of that. But they've just
this race, the race can't be called. It's too close. But the final early voting numbers were a historic high in New York, and I think that goes in Cuomo's favor. And I was talking about this poll that has Mamdani only 4.5 points ahead. A lot of these liberal New York voters, they'll say they're voting for Mamdani because they don't want the pollster to think they're a racist. So Cuomo could be ahead in that poll, if that's true. He could actually be ahead of the poll.
It's possible that
we got a break.
Mamdani could win it, and nobody thought that was possible at one point.
Either one of them could win at this point. We got a break. We're at the end of the hour, but we got 1 hour to go. It's the Steve Kane Show. Calls on hold, stand by. Steve Kane is here. I'm a pissed off Brian Craig. We'll be back after the top of the hour. All right. We're in break. Oh, my goodness.
Are you there?
Yeah, but everybody, do you need to talk to me? Hold on. Let me put you on hold. Yeah, what's up? I will. I will. Okay, hold on. I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. Okay. What was it? What was that? I won't. Don't worry. I won't. Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, hold on. All right, 1 minute.
Okay.
All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian. You want to take some calls?
Let's definitely take some calls. And I'd like people to comment, if they would, on my theory. You know how I love my little sayings. There's one that covers this. The Democratic Party right now, excuse me, my throat's a little raw this morning. The Democratic Party has one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel.
Yes, that's true.
And they'll never recover if this guy is elected. And that's why I'm kind of rooting for him, in addition to the fact that it's going to make for great talk radio.
Yeah, well, all right. Okay, there you go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Jason, Virginia Beach.
Yes, Jason.
Jason, how are you doing?
Hey, great, thank you. Great to talk to you guys. I read an article, it's on the Daily Mail right now, about Texas Governor Abbott charging 100% tariff on people who want to move from New York City specifically.
I saw that.
Yeah, what does 100% tariff mean? It sounds like a great idea.
I don't know. It sounded more like a joke to me. I have no idea what that means. I didn't know states had tariffs. I think you might have been making a joke.
It does sound like kind of a tongue-in-cheek remark, to be cute.
Yeah. We don't want liberal. They don't want liberal New Yorkers coming.
And you don't want to lose your sense of humor either.
Exactly. All right, Virginia Beach.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah,
thank you for your call
on that. That'd be great.
Okay, yeah, it would be great. So are you predicting a Mamdani loss tonight, Steve?
Me?
Yeah.
If I had to bet, I'd predict a win.
You predict a win? Okay, that's the same.
If
all right.
I had to, but it's going to be close. There's no doubt about that.
All right, hold on. I'm going to put you on. I'm going to put you on hold while I answer our phones. Are ringing off the hook. Okay, but you predict close. You predict close.
Oh, there's no question. You don't think it's going to be close?
Well, that would lean in Cuomo's favor. If there's the higher the turnout, the better chance of Cuomo winning. Is my guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true, but the question is it going to be close? I don't think there's any question it's going to be close, because Mamdani had such a humongous lead to begin with.
All right, back to the phones we go. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Mike from Massapequa.
Hey.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with Steve. I don't have too much worry. I mean, I'm in the suburbs, but even if I was still in the city, I think this guy is going to fail in all his promises. Of course, he's going to blame Trump, claiming he couldn't fulfill.
You mean if you're talking about Mamdani? You're talking about Mamdani if he's elected?
Yeah, that Mamdani.
If he's elected, okay.
He's going to be a shining example of the stupidity.
Oh, it's going to be a massacre. It's going to be a mess. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And the whole party, it's going to show the weakness of the whole party, because that's all going to dissolve into chaos.
And I think that's going to assure that Elise Stefanik is going to blow Hochul out of the water as far as running for governor.
Well, it's going to do more than that. It's going to destroy the Democratic Party.
Oh, Oh, absolutely right. In the bigger picture. But I'm saying as far as New York State, Elise Stefanik will take over. We'll have a Republican governor, and the governor of New York State can remove a mayor of New York City. We learned that recently when Hochul was supposedly considering removing Eric Adams, right?
If you're talking about the Democratic Party as a whole, the worst thing that can happen to the Democrats is have Zohran.
This guy in there. Absolutely, I completely agree.
We'll call him Mr. Z.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully it won't be Mr. Mayor. All right, I appreciate the call. I appreciate the call.
Okay.
I'm calling from Seinfeld's hometown. Hold on, Steve. Our phones are just there's so many calls. I'm getting confused on who's called first. But I want to just.
Nice.
But you know that caller, I do disagree with him on one thing. If Mamdani pulls through a victory, I don't care where you live in the United States, it's going to affect us, Steve. I mean, this could, it could be the beginning of some terrible things if he were to become mayor.
Well, but it's in history that happens all the time, where something really, really bad in the long range turns out to be good.
That's true. 8 years of Obama.
It's a political philosophy that I point out all the time on the air because I'm a big believer in it.
Yeah, well, Steve.
Looks like it's
8 years of Obama. 8 years of Obama gave us Trump coming down the escalator. So if Obama had not been president those 8 years, we may not have had Trump. That is true.
That's a good example.
But what I worry about, Steve, is this. Okay, everyone's talking about the New York exodus, but they're not talking about, if he were to become mayor, the mass moving of Muslims to New York. So if that were to happen, we wouldn't get it back.
Well, I mean, if that happens, it's just going to be a result of the process speeding up. It's something that would happen eventually anyway. Might as well get it over with, get it done with, and get on with the future of the country.
All right, hold on. I'm going to tell you, the phones have never been so busy. Oh, yeah, let's go back to the phones. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian. Morning, Steve. It's great to hear you on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning. Calling from California, Brian and we spoke yesterday. I have faith in the individuals in New York, and I think this is going to end up being a huge, gigantic swan song for Democrats in general, because they hate their party so much that they ended up having to pick Cuomo as being the one to go in there, which means that's the best that they can do. I don't think.
Hold on. Let me. Can I question what you just said? You don't think it would be worse for the Democratic Party if they win the mayoral race rather than lose it?
I think, in all honesty, I think Cuomo owes a great debt of gratitude to our current president, and I think that's going to end up to influence a lot of his decision making. And for New York, it's a much better decision, obviously, than Mamdani. But as you've said several times, Brian, the higher the turnout, the more that ends up going in Cuomo's direction. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to go out and vote no today on our Proposition 50, and hope that everybody turns out. But, obviously...
Well, here's the thing with the turnout in New York. As, I've been telling you guys, the early voting turnout has been a historic high the whole time. That tells me the Democrat machine's at work, getting the vote out, right? They're busting the people in and doing everything they do. They're not doing that for Mamdani.
I wouldn't assume that's necessarily true.
Really?
I think the support and publicity that the New York Post alone. Do you read the New York Post, caller?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, then it's been nonstop propaganda, cover to cover, for the last month or two. Just the most incredible anti Zani whatever the hell his name is. I've never seen a newspaper take such a strong stand, and to withstand that barrage from the press is hard to believe it's possible. So I think that there's every chance he could lose.
I think if you look at, like, many times before, how Republicans seem to show up on voting day, I think you're going to see that huge, gigantic turnout in regards to Cuomo. I think the early turnout was so high because college students aren't going to end up taking out a day out of their day to do something when it's easy enough just to drop something in the mail. I think today's turnout is really going to be the push that Cuomo's going to end up needing, and he's going to end up winning. You can see it because when you have women showing up and you're having statistics that you showed, Brian, earlier, where they're going for Cuomo, it's the female liberals that end up usually deciding a race.
Yeah.
So that's
for
my
the Democrats.
Opinion. That's what I've been seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this instance, I can't believe that I'm actually wanting Cuomo to.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's nuts. It's surreal.
Disgusting.
He got the president's endorsement.
Your call.
I want to tell you, if you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Sloman's Home Security. They're offering a free home security system with free professional installation and 24/7 central station monitoring for just $24.95 a month for 5 years. All you have to do right now is call 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. Okay? Again, just $24.95 per month for 5 years. It's a free home security system and professional installation, absolutely free. Your Sloman's home security system includes a touch screen keypad, 3 door or window sensors, a motion detector, notifications, and remote keypad access. So you can check in anytime from anywhere. Give them a call, 833-283-5050. No matter where you're located nationwide, by the way, give them a call. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. We'll be right back. All right. I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. I got to call Barry.
Okay. Good.
All right. Hey, Barry, you're back. Okay, hold on. All right, Steve, we got 90 seconds-ish.
You got it.
And then I'll put Barry on in just a minute. I'll wait till we're closer. Oh, man. I hope we get the results early. They should be early.
They probably will.
Yeah, they should be early. Come on. I'd love to see this guy come out and concede. Wonder if he'll have his mommy come out with him when he concedes or do it for him. No participation trophy for you, Mamdani. But, he hasn't gotten any major endorsements from any of the big Democrats. Not one. That means...
But when we get back, I'm going to read in the first 3 pages of the New York Post today, what the headlines are.
Okay.
And you'll see what I mean.
All right, wait till that. But I got to go to Barry first. We got 50 seconds.
Okay.
All right, Barry, we have about 15 seconds.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, we're back. Steve Kane's here. I'm Brian, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Steve. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Great. Great. Barry just got back from a cruise, and we're planning ours now. So, cruises are great, aren't they, Barry?
They're great. Yes,
Oh, man.
absolutely.
Absolutely. So,
But, it's interesting. I wasn't going to talk about this, but, you always have to have a plan, and sometimes plans change. And I was on a cruise, and the plan was to go to the Eastern Caribbean, and for reasons that we all know, the hurricane that came that was here a few days ago, we had to divert and do the Western Caribbean, and so sometimes plans change. And today I was going to talk about plans, and we have. Of course, we're a law firm that helps people with their estate planning and their elder law planning, but there's all kinds of planning that we all do every day. We have healthcare plans and fitness plans and travel plans and meal plans, and teachers have lesson plans.
Yep.
Business people have business and strategic and succession plans. Medical, you have treatment plans and long-term care plans and wellness and nutrition and even nursing care plans. We even have wedding plans, Plan Bs like backup plans, 5-year plans, and in sports they have game plans. So there's all kinds of plans. We plan every day. But if you think about it, when you're talking about some of the most important things in life, our family, our loved ones, the assets that you acquire, and what you've worked so hard for, all of that is encompassed in your estate plan, making sure that you leave behind a legacy that's going to take care of the people you love with the assets that you've earned over your lifetime. And so that's so important, not only to do it, but to also make sure that it's up to date so it will work when you need it to work. And that's what we do at the Siegel Law Group. We actually have one of our Living Trust seminars this morning at 10 a.m. in Boca Raton at the Spanish River Library. It's a large room, so I'm sure there's still room if anybody would like to join. You just have to call our office and let them know you'd like to come. And, of course, we have other ones coming up as well.
Yeah, and, I want to mention, one thing you do these free reviews for people for their revocable living trust or their wills, whatever, even if it was done by another law firm. And you talk a lot about making sure everything is funded, is in the trust. And I was wondering, are you getting people now, Barry, that are making sure that their crypto is part of the trust? Because I bet you that's something like, you got your crypto wallet and it's on your iPhone. You got to have that in your trust too.
Yeah, that's a topic that comes up from time to time.
I bet.
So we've been having those conversations with clients.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's a kind of a new thing, but those crypto wallets are getting bigger and bigger all the time. Listen, if you want to go to the workshop today or one of the upcoming ones, call. They're always free, and when you call the Siegel Law Group, they'll give you all the info on that. Or if you want to schedule your no-charge in-office consultation with the Siegel Law Group, do that as well. Here's the number, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, thank you guys.
All right.
Have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, Steve, I'll put you on hold for a moment. We only have oh my goodness, we only have about 10,000 calls coming in. So, and operators are not standing by. I added a bunch of lines to our phone system here. We have more phone lines than we have had at the last 10 studios combined.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy. And we still fill them up all the time. All right, you want to take some calls?
Yes.
All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Back from St. Lucie.
Okay, what's up, St. Lucie?
Hey, I want to know, how come Bush and Cheney never got answered for their war crimes in Iraq? They lied about WMDs and nothing ever happened to them.
Yeah, well, I think something's happening to Dick Cheney right now.
Oh, I have no doubt about that, but what about Bush?
Now I get the same thing will probably happen to him. You know, the fiery pits of hell are there. You know, Dick Cheney's down there with his friend Colin Powell and Saddam Hussein. They're probably all sitting around in a waiting room somewhere.
Is that what you're worried about on election day?
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your call. Goodbye. Get lost.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, yeah. Oops, sorry about that. With emphasis on get lost. I like that, get lost.
We were talking about the propaganda effect of what's been going on in the New York media. Look at the front page of it's election day, right?
Yep.
And look at the front page headline, full page headline, front page of the New York Post. Keep the commie out in big block letters. I mean, you can't take that day after day after day without it having a massive effect on the overall vote.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and people don't realize when people that aren't from New York, I don't think people understand this. I mean, I'm not from New York. I'm just a tourist, but, to New York. But if you are he's talking about raising taxes, right? In New York, you have federal income. If you live in New York City, right, you have federal income tax, state income tax, and city income tax. So, I mean, you're taxed beyond imagination, and he's promising to increase that. That's crazy town. I mean, that's just nuts.
The most important fact to bear in mind is that if Zelensky were to win, the next day the Democratic Party would just self-destruct,
evaporate.
Exactly, there'd be a battle for control among all new forces, and chaos would erupt, and the Democrats would never win another major election cross country ever again.
All right, well, let's take some of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Stephen Bryan. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Good morning, Steve. I think if Lohan, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I'm ready for it to be over either way, but I think that, if Lohan wins, New York City is going to be the republic. It's going to be the republic of the banana. And as you've said, Steve, sometimes a banana is just a crescent moon sickle.
Oh,
I mean, this guy is, look, I think he's a poster child, quite honestly, for more nails in the coffin of the Democrat Party. I don't know if they need any more nails. But
if he gets elected, he's the final nail.
Well,
he gets elected.
Steve, the other thing that's going in Cuomo's favor is Mamdani didn't get the endorsement of Obama, Schumer, Hochul, or Hakeem Jeffries said he's not the future of the Democrat Party the other day. So he doesn't have...
Well, that gives you an idea where they go from there.
Well, my guess is they've seen the internal polls, and they're not good, and they don't want to back a loser. Is that a fair guess or not?
I think so. Yeah, I think if the Democrat political cartel, if the cartel doesn't want him, this is what we had talked about this several times, Brian, about the corrupt machine. And I mean, in New York City, it's the corrupt cartel that counts the votes. Now, if they were taking votes from a Republican in a close race, I think there'd be a huge investigation by the Department of Justice because it's under Trump. But if it's Democrats going against Democrats and they take it away from the commie and Comey wins, there might not be such a close look at it.
There's no way to predict the victor tonight. However, all the momentum's in Cuomo's favor, isn't it?
It's been moving that way
for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been moving that direction. The trend is your friend, and
yep.
Look, I just think that I think that in the end, I mean, they're all. I mean, both sides are corrupt. I mean, to me, you've got the
obviously.
They're both sides are corrupt. It's like the.
Well, how many people are dead? How many people are dead in New York because of Governor Cuomo? I mean, there's so we know. I mean, he's evil. He's evil.
The lesser of two evils. Whenever I hear that, it always reminds me of Captain Jack and the Commander. The lesser of two weevils, and Comey, is definitely he's a pretty big weevil, but he's a hell of a lot better than the the communist duck
JJ, thanks for your call, my friend. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Let's take another call. I should not, but I'm going to take another call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian and Steve. This is Barbara in Baltimore. I just want to say, I think, Andrew Cuomo is going to win in New York. It's going to be close, but he is going to win because I've spoken to my relatives in New York. They are so afraid of Mamdani, they don't know what to do. And, of course, I couldn't.
Are they Democrats? Are they Democrats?
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Okay, so they're black Democrats, and they're going to vote for Cuomo. Okay.
Well, a lot of New Yorkers are rabid Democrats.
Well, just you never know. You never know because you're conservative.
Well,
you're MAGA.
They just are.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
No, but anyway, I almost lost my train of thought. But anyway, what I was surprised about in this race from the very beginning was how Curtis Sliwa steered away from the America First agenda, which I thought was such a mistake for him to do. And he never spoke about America First policies or mentioned President Trump, his accomplishments, or anything. So I know there's something personal there, probably involving a woman, but that he may have lost to President Trump in their past as youth or something. But Cuomo is going to win in New York, and he's still not going to. He's going to be the same left-wing person that he is. He's already said he's going to keep it.
Well, what's going to happen to the? I'd be interested in hearing you speculate about if in fact Mamdani wins. What do you think the effect will be on the party the next day?
The Democrats.
Oh, it'll be a nail in their coffin if it is.
The biggest.
He's going to be a disaster.
A nail.
Trump's going to pull.
It'll be a stick of dynamite up their rectum.
Well, it is what it is. And
Barbara, let me ask you, because when you say
I loved it.
Barbara, let me ask you, when you say Cuomo's going to win tonight, I hope you're right. That's not just PR. You must base that on what makes you so confident. You're not just saying that. That's not wishful thinking. What makes you say that?
Well, for the lines of people, the turnout that you can already see.
Yeah.
At the voting booth, and normally in midterms, people don't turn out like that. Just like here in Baltimore, we have an incompetent mayor that got in with 20% of the population. So, and the same thing happens up there.
Yeah.
But people are turning out because of the fear, and President Trump is still would be pulling the funding for everything he wants to do, because he's already said, he just said it the other day, he said it'd be a waste of money to send taxpayer dollars to New York because it's going to be wasted. So, and Cuomo is not going to be able to do he says he's going to keep the sanctuary. Well, President Trump is in charge of that. And I'm not even concerned about a lot of Muslims moving to New York if Mamdani wins, because President Trump is still in control of immigration. He still is going to have ICE. And if anybody opposes him, after these elections are over, they're going to find out what's going to happen.
Well, listen, we got to run, Barbara. I'm 5 minutes late for the break.
Day.
All right, take care. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. Steve's here. I'm Brian. Back after this. All right, I'm gonna put you on hold, Steve, for a minute. Okay, hold on.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, Steve, you there?
I am here.
Okay, we got 90 seconds.
Okay.
All right, hold on, Steve. I'm going to answer some phones. Hold on. Okay, Steve, you there?
Yes.
All right, 20 seconds. See, it seems like we overcame that phone problem with you.
Yes, it sounds pretty
Been
pretty good.
Okay, stand by. All right, we're back. Steve Kane's here. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You know, Steve, the momentum, we've been talking about this. The momentum's been all in Cuomo's favor. If that's true, and there's all this huge turnout for Cuomo today, what are they so afraid of with Mamdani? Is it the communist socialism or the Muslim stuff?
Mamdani had a monster head start. That's why.
Yeah. Well, what are people most afraid of with him, do you think? Is it his communism or Islamism?
Probably communism right now, since that's where Trump has been hitting a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's take some more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joellen from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Joellen.
Hi there. So I heard you call Suila a narcissist loser.
Yes.
Have you ever heard him? Why? Do you know that Giuliani was backing him?
Well, that was a mistake.
Well, okay.
You know, listen.
Have
This
you ever heard him interviewed? Have you ever heard him be interviewed by anybody?
Many times.
Okay. So he is. So you got to give him credit. I'm sorry for standing up and trying to.
Well, he's not standing up now.
Well, we'll see what the results are.
Listen, Curtis Sliwa.
I'm not saying he's going to win.
Joellen. Curtis Sliwa is in effect endorsing Mamdani.
I know you think that. Okay, obviously he's not endorsing Mamdani. He's standing up because he wants to do the fight. Not because he's a narcissist.
That's ego.
Because he's
That's
been
ego.
in New York for a long time and
That's
he's seen
ego.
what's gone here.
That's ego.
Okay, well, one might say that.
Hold on. Let me just ask. I want to clarify them. Are you saying you don't believe that the third candidate is what? Assuming Mamdani wins, you're saying it wouldn't be a result of having a third-party candidate in there?
It could be, or maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Whatever's going to be is going to be.
Oh my goodness! Whatever's going to be is going to be.
If enough people turn out to vote for Cuomo, okay.
Whatever's going to be is going to be.
Well, evil.
I think it was Rosemary Clooney that said that.
Rosemary Clooney.
Okay.
And the Poseidon Adventure.
You're talking about how evil Cuomo is. So endorsing somebody like that.
Well, I think the president endorsed Cuomo.
I understand that. Hochul did. She did. The last time I saw her up on stage, she endorsed Mamdani.
See, that's how dangerous Mamdani is. Mamdani is so dangerous. We're endorsing a mass murderer.
I understand that.
And Curtis Sliwa, listen, here's the thing, okay? Curtis Sliwa has, I've grown up liking him and admiring him. He's a great American hero. I think they based Death Wish on him, right? Charles Bronson, right? He's the real deal. But what he's doing now is an ego exercise. It's hopeless. This is the most important mayor's race in the history of the United States, not just New York City. And if you look at the polls, if he wasn't in it, Mamdani would not even be in the running. In the latest poll, he has 15 and a half points, Curtis Sliwa. Now, people may wake up and he may only come in with 2% tonight or something. But if Mamdani wins, chances are it'll be because of Curtis Sliwa.
It's going to be Sliwa's fault because
Just like Mayor Adams dropped out. If he wins
maybe enough Republicans and maybe people did not go.
It's
to the
New
polls.
York City.
Maybe that too.
It's New York City.
Okay, it's New York City. So what? What's that mean?
There's like 3 Republicans there. It's like San Francisco. Come on.
Well,
Joellen,
okay.
you're a smart woman. You're usually smarter than this. So if Mamdani wins by 5 or 10 points, it's because of Curtis. This thing with ego. I'll give you an example. Like you hear Steve and I on the show, right? We both got some personality, but you don't hear us. We take our turns with each other because there's no ego here with Steve and I. Curtis Sliwa, this is 100% narcissistic ego. Okay?
One might. Okay.
He could have dropped out like the mayor did. Mayor Adams dropped. Mayor Adams is the sitting mayor. He dropped out and endorsed Cuomo because he knows what's best for the city in America. This is about the end of our civilization, possibly, with this guy.
The end of the civilization.
Or the beginning of a new civilization.
Yeah, New Yorkistan.
Without a functioning Democratic Party.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Or it might be the beginning of people waking up and realize what's happened. It might take something like that. Good always comes from bad. Unfortunately, somebody has to suffer.
I agree.
And with Curtis Sliwa, with we all love Mayor Giuliani, but he's personal friends with Curtis Sliwa. So there's I know it was a mistake. The president said on 60 Minutes, vote for Cuomo. I'm sure you think that you agree with the president always.
Not always.
Really?
I don't agree with.
You're backing Curtis Sliwa, but you don't back the president.
Well, I think I am proud of Sliwa being in that race.
This isn't. You're calling from Fort Lauderdale. This is not the mayor of Fort Lauderdale's race we're talking about. This is New York City.
I understand that.
You can waste your vote in Fort Lauderdale. You're still going to get some Democrat gay activist, okay? And you can vote for the Republican. But New York is the most important city in the world. And to have a Muslim mayor after 9/11 who's a communist on top of it is bad news for our whole country.
Yeah. If they haven't noticed that in Minnesota already, if they haven't noticed what's taken over in Michigan and in Minnesota, well, then there's probably no hope for them.
It's just like Fort Lauderdale. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, right? I hardly recognize the town. There's a pride flag every 10 paces when I go down to the beach. You know what I mean? I don't know how. When somebody, and that's because gay activists took over the local government. So you get Islamic activists taking over the New York City government. My goodness, what's that going to do to the city?
Well, when you consider that they're not, if you consider what Donald said, he pointed out that they can't really do that much without a budget, and all budgeting has to come through Washington.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be a financial collapse.
Yeah.
All right, Joellen.
Yeah. So
we got to run.
Right.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. This is unrelated to his normal spot, but he has Jupiter Joe pens. He gave me one of his pens. Oh, man. I've basically thrown away all my ink pens now. I just have the Jupiter Joe. He gives you free pens, right? They're very high quality, and you can change the ink in them when it runs out of ink. They're very good. It says a lot about him and his business. But I want to talk more about what he does professionally. He's not a professional pen giveawayer, but if you go to his office and take advantage of that no-charge consultation, asking for one of those Jupiter Joe pens, they write great, too. Oh, my goodness. It's a great. You want one, Steve? I'll get you a Jupiter Joe pen.
Oh, that'd be great.
These are awesome. People give me free pins all the time. They're junk, except Jupiter Joe's. But the reason I'm talking about the pin is it goes to the quality that he extends to people that come and meet with him at his office, right? He doesn't want to give you just some junk freebie thing. I do love the pin, but I want to talk more about what he does professionally. He's not a professional pin giveawayer. Annuities. This is amazing. I like sure bets, right? Annuities and gold, because we're going in the gold report next. With annuities, when I learned how annuities work, that your money you invested in an annuity, you never lose a penny. It's always safe, and you can generate an income stream for the rest of your life in your retirement. That's all I needed to hear. Jupiter Joe Thomas has over 30 years of retirement planning experience. He's a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by less than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. So he's a top man in the industry, and he's offering you a no-charge consultation, which you can take advantage of in his office or over the phone or through Zoom, no matter where you're located. Give him a call, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. We'll be right back. All right, I'm going to put you on hold so I can get William, Steve. Hold on. Hey there, hold on. Steve, you there?
I am here.
All right, less than a minute. Okay, 30 seconds. I'm going to put William on. Hold on. All right, William, we have less than 30 seconds, and we'll go to you.
Okay.
All right, we're back, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking?
Metals pulling back a little bit this morning. Yesterday we saw them close minor down areas with the gold trading in a range of 3,962 on the low up to 4,030 on the high, and managed to eke out a little bit above 4,000 for the close at $4,040, minus 70 cents on the day on light trading. Silver was down 59 cents, closing out the day at $48.01. Platinum was down $3 at $1,566, and palladium up at 48. We saw gold 36 on low to 4,000, and right now 21 cents 37 just below that.
So
at 40.
William, we're having a little connectivity problems, but you came back now. So could you give us the gold and silver prices again real quick?
Sure. Gold, $39.79, down $21.40.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Silver down 56 cents at $47.45. Platinum down $21 at $1,545. and palladium down $42 at $1,386.
Wow. Well, it sounds like a good day to pick up some gold and silver. This is awesome.
Yes,
This is
good
awesome
day.
because what William Youngman just told you is gold and silver is on sale today, and that's what we're always looking for, the dips. That's what you're always looking for. William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. You can give him a call. And remember, you can do all your transactions over the phone and through the mail. 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. Stop in if you can at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And find both his address and phone number on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, things are looking great, Steve. Oh, man, what an exciting time. You want to take some more calls?
Sure.
Okay, all right. I think Joellen's pretty ticked at me. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, hi, Brian. Hi, Steve. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
By the way,
Thank
before
you
you
so
start,
much.
Steve, we have not heard from Doris the tent lady in a while. I'm starting, I'm putting a call out there if something's happened, if her family could let us know. I was just thinking, we haven't heard from Doris the tent lady in a while, and your voice just reminded me of Doris.
Oh, yeah, it does sound like Doris.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have a twin, so...
Same voice,
I
just a little
wanted to
young.
say-
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to say thank you for everything that you do, both of you. My main concern about this area, this state, is all these people migrating down here from New York.
Yes.
I'm hoping, dear God, I'm hoping it doesn't change over to a blue, well, maybe it is a blue area, but our state is a red area. And I'm concerned about that.
Well,
really-
listen, we have some big blue counties in Florida, Palm Beach County and Broward
Yes.
County, and it's because of New Yorkers.
Yes, yes.
That's it. I mean, it's true. Yes, they destroy. This is what Governor Abbott was talking about. You mess up your city, you mess up your state. Don't bring that crap to Texas. That's what he's saying.
Precisely. My parents moved here in 1977. I grew up in Deerfield Beach. Basically, what had happened was my father found this area more affordable. Now, because of all the high, the property tax and everything has gone up, and I'm just really concerned about this area. I love this area. I love Donald Trump. Oh my God, he's my.
Well, listen. Like I'll give you an example, right? So Governor DeSantis is going to have doing away with property taxes on the ballot. You know how these Democrats are. They're going to vote to keep their damn property taxes. They're so stupid. I mean, I'm going to be screaming at the rooftops to get rid of that. I know you will too, Steve. Who wants to pay property taxes?
Oh,
but liberals.
Goodness, you guys, my property taxes, I mean, I couldn't even file for homes. Well, I filed for homestead, but unfortunately, because I moved, I tried to do portability. And it's
forget it. That portability, that one of the reasons I stay in my house is because but I'll tell you this. If the New Yorkers come here, most of them will go to the blue counties already. You know what I mean? So they won't have as much of an impact on the state as you think.
No.
All right. Appreciate the call.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And that's I get it. I mean, it's a hold on. It's a concern. You want to take more calls, Steve? What do you want to do?
Let's just take some calls.
All right. You're on the air.
The voice of the people will be heard.
That's right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield. Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you? Aside from this political plank, which I can't stand, the one thing I can't get by this guy is my visceral reaction to him. You know who would have been his biggest supporters? The same guys that flew those planes into the World Trade Center. And to have a guy like this running for mayor of New York is an outrage. And I do hope that people will turn out en masse today and end this campaign.
Well, you know what I wonder? Okay, you mentioned this about that. This was a number of years ago, but remember when this was in Obama's presidency when they were doing the testing? Right. They did something crazy. They were doing military exercises with Air Force One over New York City. Do you remember this? Air Force. The president was not on it. Obama was president, but the president wasn't on it. They were They flew Air Force One low over New York City, being chased by a fighter jet. Doing military maneuvers. It caused a panic in the city. People were running out of the buildings. They thought Air Force One was being shot down, and they were under. How much 9/11 is still in the hearts and minds of adults in New York City? Is there a lot of it still, or is it gone?
Well, the biggest terrorist attack in the history of this country, and
the world.
I cannot let it go. Yeah, in the world, I cannot let it go. New York could get hit again. I don't want this guy as mayor if they do. I don't want that mindset being in there. A guy like Giuliani, supposing this guy had been in the mayor when the terrorist attacks occurred, we would still be recovering from that. It would have been a complete disaster.
See, when things turned against Mamdani to where we don't know what's going to happen tonight, but when the trend started going towards Cuomo is when he posted that picture online, Mamdani, of himself with that terrorist imam from the first Trade Center bombing. That's when everything turned in Cuomo's direction. That's when the trend turned.
Was that one of the biggest major political blunders in a campaign?
Only if he loses tonight. Only if he loses tonight.
It goes back to that picture. It goes back to that picture. And bringing this back to the people who are the voters in New York. I can't forget it, and I hope the voters there don't either, because we've got to keep New York strong.
I mean, do you ever get on a plane and not think about 9/11? If you ever fly, isn't that always on your mind when you fly? 9/11.
Yes.
And if you're in New York, I mean, how many people don't have moms or dads because of that? You know,
absolutely.
It
becomes a generational thing going back to 9/11. I hope those people go out and show up and vote today. Remember that. It's an important. This is one of the biggest important days in this country. No doubt about it.
All right.
No
Take care. Take care.
Thank you for your call.
You know, hold on, Steve. I got about 50,000 lines coming in. If you're on hold, my apologies. We haven't gotten all. We're trying to get to everyone. You know, the countdown to the holiday season. We're in the holiday season now, right? It's November 4th, and we're just a few short weeks away from the first holiday. We've got Thanksgiving. You want to call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, okay? When you get into whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Christmas party at work, or the Jewish holidays, you know, whatever it is, Hanukkah. You see people you see once a year, every 5 years, every 20 years. You want to look great. And, you know, the first 25 pounds I lost at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I lost in 3 weeks. I lost about 30 pounds in a month. And my results are typical. So there's plenty of time. Give them a call no matter where you're located. Lose that weight. I'm going to give you the number, and you can, no matter where you are in the United States, we have listeners from all over America that are losing weight with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. All right? Call and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, let's take some more calls, Steve. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Stan from Fort Myers. How you doing?
All right, Fort Myers.
Hey, so going to this Mamdani race, if he wins, we're going to have Dearborn, Michigan on roids in New York City.
Correct.
And if, let's say, Cuomo drops out, which you wouldn't, or let's say Sliwa drops out.
Well, the election's today. They're voting now. It's too late to drop out. Today is the election.
Yeah.
They're voting now.
Okay.
Too late.
That's all I got. Well, hopefully we'll have a nice ending with Cuomo.
How is, let me ask you, calling from Fort Myers, what's it like living on the Gulf of America?
I like it, but there's a lot more to do. I've lived on both coasts, Brian.
Yes.
And Fort Lauderdale is magic. I mean, there's more things for younger people.
Yeah, especially if you're gay.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know what? If you're a single heterosexual guy, you got a better chance because most of the guys are gay in Fort Lauderdale. So if you're single and you're looking to meet a woman, come to Fort Lauderdale. All the guys are gay. Except
Neil Rogers used to call We're going to Fort Myers, where the average median age is death. He was
Yeah,
right
that's
on
true.
the money
That's
years
true.
ago. It's not like that anymore.
It's much different over there. All right, appreciate the call.
All right.
We're pretty much out of time. Should I attempt another call, Steve? We're almost out of time.
Let's do it.
All right, whatever. Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. I don't know. I guess we made a mistake. That last call always does it, Steve. When I feel like I shouldn't take that one last call, my instincts are usually correct. But that's why I asked you. I wanted to lay the blame on you. Well, I got to tell you, we haven't gotten a single call today from a liberal predicting a Mamdani win. We've had full boards of calls for over 3 hours. Not one Democrat has called in predicting a Mamdani win. Not one. So, that says something.
I don't dread it. I'm almost going to be disappointed if Mamdani doesn't win.
Oh, don't say that, Steve. Don't say that.
The hours of incredible programming. Besides, I'd like to get some of the Muslim activists in our audience to call in. We don't hear a lot from them.
Well, we're out of time for today, but we will be back tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow morning we'll open the show with Governor Cuomo and Mamdani and his mommy having conceded the night before. Let's hope and pray. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Steve Kane, of course, has been here. My name is Brian Craig. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. God bless America and God bless Donald Trump. All right, we're clear. All right, Steve, I'll call you later.
Yeah, call me later.
I'll call you later. All right, take care. All of you guys, if you're new to the program, this is where MAGA comes to talk. And make sure you subscribe if you're new to my channel. Anytime I'm live in the studio, we're taking live screenless calls like you just saw us do. So you can always participate in that if you're watching live. If you've already subscribed, thanks so much. Please like the video. And if you could share the video on your socials, that helps a lot. All right, guys, take care. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.